Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world: movies, movie news, TV, streaming, Book of Boba Fett, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and all sorts of things in between. And we are so glad you're joining us here today. Also, of course, joining us over here, his writer, director, producer, one Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
John, I am fine. It's surprise day, and anything can happen.
Surprise? What is surprise day?
On the Mickey Mouse Club, Wednesday was always surprise day.
I am completely unfamiliar with such a thing.
Surprise day. Anything can happen. Woo, woo, woo.
Okay.
And
I don't think that's the song.
That was unexpectedly wholesome, Robert.
That was a little before my time, I think.
It was kind of the song. I just forgot the lyric after the surprise day.
What do you mean before your time, John?
When was Mickey Mouse Club on? I have no idea.
I was watching Mickey Mouse Club.
Well,
yeah, but
There was the 90s one that had
I'm
Ryan
gonna
Gosling.
not
Are you
say what I was
talking
about
about
to
the
say.
Annette Funicello?
Well, that was the original.
Yeah.
I don't know if they had surprise. They had surprise day in like the 80s or this remake.
That was when I watched it with Ryan Gosling and
Justin
Brittany and
Timberlake.
Christina.
Yeah, I forgot they were all in that.
Yeah,
We
Ryan
didn't watch that
Gosling,
in
good
Canada.
Canadian kid.
No, we were watching hockey. All right. Anyway, also
Always.
sitting right over here, and look, it's Joey Bishop along with Aaron Cummings is here. How you doing?
Doing great. You know what? There is an excitement in the air this week. We have, especially in Los Angeles specifically, we have the Oscar nominations that just came out. King Richard bringing home a whole bunch of them, which I'm very
Yes,
proud
you are
about.
in a Best Picture nominated film.
Yes, I am, as is Tom. And also we have the Super Bowl in Los Angeles this weekend. So I'm really...
With the Rams in it.
Yeah,
So Ann is very excited about that.
It's a great week to be in Los Angeles. I mean, I will not leave my house because it's a terrible week to actually physically be in Los Angeles, but it's a great week to be in the city of Los Angeles celebrating our Rams and celebrating our industry.
And by the way, you know, of course, Ray is here. You just can't see him. Ray's over on the other side of that door. Ray is joining you guys in the live chat here today, so you can talk and discuss with Ray about a bunch of different things. And also sitting over right beside Aaron, we of course have Chris Carr. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Any car problems today?
I had no car problems today. I had my ish together. I got myself a coffee. It's a great day to be a car. And also, Aaron, I got to point out, our chat was so lovely yesterday to you. They were all talking about how Aaron was snubbed and she
At
should
the
get
Oscar
an
Awards for
Oscar
Best Supporting
nomination.
Actress.
And they were like, I
Completely
don't know.
snubbed.
I don't know if I'm going to watch it if she's not supporting actress.
I mean, it's true. I mean, I really feel like between me and Ingenue Ellis, I don't understand why she was the one. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I say that as a huge Ingenue Ellis fan. I was so thrilled to see that she was nominated. But yeah, you know, whatever happened to There's No Small Parts?
Exactly.
Come on, man.
Speaking of parts, you've got an episode of The Rookie coming out. When's that episode of The Rookie airing?
Yes, it is airing on February 27th. So
Nice.
if you are a fan of Nathan Fillion, which you should be because he's a darn nice guy, please check me out in The Rookie on February 27th.
All right, guys, and it is awesome to have you guys here joining us here today. Here's how today's show is going to go. We break it down into two parts. The first half of the show, we take some predetermined topics, and the second half of the show, we take your live comments and questions. Now, about the topics that we take off here first. How do we select our main topics? You guys come up with them. See, whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we should cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. Also, guys, if you are watching live, and only if you're watching live, in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you want to get one in, simply use the super chat feature in the YouTube chat there. Fire that in, and we'll read those off when we get to the end of the main topics. Also, guys, a little bit of house cleaning. Don't forget, if you can't be in front of the YouTubes for your daily fix of the John Campea Show, good news, there's an audio-only version we call the John Campea Show podcast. It is on your favorite podcasting app of choice. Just go onto it, search for the John Campea Show, and subscribe to the podcast form today, so the podcast will be there when you guys need it. Okay, guys. With that down and out of the way, we've got a couple of things to talk about here off the top, but I'm going to let you guys know something before we do. Our final topic today that we're going to get to is about last night's episode of the Book of Boba Fett, the series finale. we are going to talk about it in a full open spoiler context. Now, we're not going to talk about it before the end of the show. So it's going to be our last topic at the end of the day. So if you haven't had a chance to see it, or if you're not really interested, whatever, when we get to the final topic, we'll let you know, and then you guys can tune out if you don't want to hear about the episode last night. Otherwise, if you have, stick around for that, and away we go. All right. With that said, let's cover a couple of off the tops here. And the first one we're going to talk about is this. You know, one of my actual favorite movies when I was younger, growing up, just because it might have been the first scary one I saw, it was the Drew Barrymore film Firestarter. And General Patton was in it.
George C. Scott.
George C. Scott was in it, and I thought he was terrifying. Like, when I was a kid, I thought he was terrifying in that, right? And I just thought it was the coolest movie. Like, this little girl with superpowers, but it was also kind of horrifying and all that kind of stuff. A little while ago, we found out that they are making a remake of it, which I'm all for. And one of the guys starring in it is Zac Efron. I'm a big Zac Efron fan. I think the guy's fantastic. I really do. So today, they launched their first trailer of the new Firestarter, also known as X-Men Origins Firestarter, because that's what it's felt like. I mean, hey, that's what it was going to feel like. I don't know how you do a Firestarter remake and not have it feel like that a little bit, right? So, and that's fine. That's okay. So I was watching it, Zac Efron playing the dad. We are now, all of us are old enough now that Zac Efron is playing the dad. So Zac Efron's playing the dad in it. It's got a nice feel to it. Like, you know what? There's a part in the trailer where she says, "Liar, liar, pants on fire," right? And at first I rolled my eyes and I thought, if that was a 10-year-old girl, that is probably what she would say. So I allowed it, like a judge in Law and Order. I'll allow it. I allowed it. I'm like, okay, I'll give you that one for now. But when she was in the bathroom and the teacher goes in there, like, I felt legitimately kind of horrifying about what's going on. If you know the original movie, it's got kind of a kick in the gut kind of ending. But I gotta tell you, I watched the trailer and I thought it was okay. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's the second coming or anything like that, or it's as good as the Batman trailer. It's not. But I honestly thought it was okay. Now, of course, the movie's probably going to be crap. It's a day-and-date release on Peacock, so I don't expect that it's going to do very well. I think because of that, a lot of people maybe won't take it seriously, and maybe it doesn't deserve it. But as far as the trailer goes, I thought it was all right. Rob, I know you saw the original Firestarter. You saw this trailer. What's your take on it?
Well, first of all, dude, I bought that book 42 years ago, in the summer of 1980.
Why are you looking at me?
And
Why are you looking
Chris,
at
you
me?
were there. You
Yes, you would
remember.
I was not even
I know. I'm like the old man. And when it came out in mass market hardcover, there was the white cover and the black cover. And they were both, and I remember in the bookstore, I went and got the white cover with the flame in front. The images were the same. They were just mirror. Anyway, read the book in like 2 sittings. I loved Firestarter. I liked the movie a lot. This, I thought it looked pretty good. It looks a little low budget because it's Blumhouse, but I thought Zac Efron looks pretty good. The fire effects look like they're pretty effective. It didn't look like CG fire. It looked like they actually had real fire.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
actually
I'm
looked
like,
pretty
okay,
legit.
that
Yeah.
looks like some real fire. And maybe they did some compositing. I cannot stand CG fire.
Yeah.
And it has the one scene where her hair is blown back.
Yeah.
You know,
Very Drew Barrymore.
it was like,
in
I mean,
that.
'cause that's right out of the book. Now, the book has a lot of spy intrigue because I think there's something called the shop where they do this this experimentation. But you know what? Kind of like The Invisible Man, it was an $8 million spend on that movie and it made $100 million. If this movie can be about character and story, and it looked like the little girl's pretty good, you know, and I like Zac Efron. I watched this with you. I watched the trailer. I'm like, you know, I'll watch this. I mean,
she had a fanning kind of aura about
yeah,
her.
she
Like,
did.
She had a little bit of a fanning.
And I think that Blumhouse, don't underestimate them. Even though they might not be working with $100 million budgets, they provide some great entertainment.
See, I was going to mention that because you mentioned it looks a little lower budget because it's Blumhouse. We don't mean that in a negative way.
No.
Blumhouse has made a fortune and a business and a great reputation off of reaching into his last winter's coat, pulling out whatever change he has, and make a $40 million film out
Invisible
of it.
Man's a perfect example of that.
Oh, good. Love that. Anyway, Chris, you had a chance to see this trailer kind of out of the blue, out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting the trailer to drop today. What did you think about it?
I had that very big guffaw reaction.
When
where I was
she
just
said,
oh, come on. But I mean, that is a great point to bring up, though. She's 10. You'd say stuff like that if you were a 10-year-old. You'd think you were just killing it. That'd be fried comedy gold to you. You know? That said, though, everything else looked really, really great. I don't have the highest hope since it is on Peacock. That does make me a little nervous that it's just a straight-to-streaming situation. But I love Zac Efron. I think he gets a bad rap, and I think he's a great actor. I enjoy him.
He looked
very
good
much.
in this too.
He does.
Well, I mean, he always looks
He
good.
always
but I mean, he
looks
looked
good. He's a
as
very
an
handsome
actor.
man.
Looks
He
good.
looked good
But
even
yeah.
with his shirt on.
Yeah.
Even with his shirt.
Even with his shirt on.
By the way, if you guys have never seen his like docu-series that he has on Netflix where him and this buddy of his travel around the world to different locations that are doing things to change the world for the better. It's his episode on water is amazing.
Wow.
Like it's really, really cool. You should go check it out. Anyway, Aaron, you had a chance to take a look at this trailer. What did you make of it?
I thought it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And, you know, Rob, you hit the nail on the head when you said, really, it's about story and character. At the end of the day, that's my jam. If you have a good story, it doesn't matter who's starring in it. It doesn't matter where it's being released. People will find it. They will watch it. Invisible Man is a great example of how Blumhouse continues to, you know, they find these stories and really find brilliant actors. This young woman, Ryan Kiera Armstrong is her name. She is 12 years old now. She was probably 10 or 11 when the movie was being made. She's been acting since she was 5 years old. She has like 5 movies coming out.
Wow.
I mean, she's clearly such a talented actress. And I'm going to be honest, when she said liar, liar, pants on fire, I got giddy. Like that fired me up.
Different
no pun
reactions from
intended.
everybody.
Right, exactly. Like I was like, oh yeah, like the perfect thing to say. And it's especially and it's so great coming out of the mouth of this little demon angel child. You know, she's so precocious and she's so cute. And I like Zac Efron stepping into this new role of his.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think that it's such a smart move for him as an actor because so many actors get pigeonholed as one thing. I mean, let's not forget, like Alec Baldwin was the hot guy, and then he totally reinvented himself as, you know, the character comedian. And so
30 Rock really was a turning point for him.
Totally. And so similarly, I see Zac Efron going from a comedic type of role where he's basically just taking your shirt off and being a ding dong, an idiot. But now he's really playing more serious roles. And I think that this is a great opportunity for him to be seen in a different way. And really what I imagine is going to be a star-making role for this young Ryan Kiera Armstrong.
Well, the question is for you guys. Have you had a chance to watch this Firestarter trailer? If so, what did you think? If not, are you interested in this movie? Are you not? What do you think about Zac Efron taking on a role like this? What do you think about it being a day and date? Does that raise your expectations, lower them? Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's do another off the top here, shall we? And that one is this. Speaking of the Oscar nominations that came out yesterday, one of the films that was nominated for Best Picture is the one, all due respect to King Richard, but the one that I thought was actually the best film of the year was West Side Story.
Right.
And this is, for those of you who don't know and haven't been following, this is a movie that even though to me, Steven Spielberg is the GOAT. He's the greatest filmmaker of all time. And I have a lot of faith in him, and I can enjoy a good musical. I had zero faith. Rob would always look at me for the last year. Rob would look at me funny whenever I said, West Side Story. I have no idea why they're doing this. And Rob's like, but it's Spielberg and you're a song and dance man. I'm like, I just don't know why they're doing this. This feels like it's just like a childhood dream of his and he wants to remake West Side. I don't know. And I had zero faith in it. Other than the fact that it was, of course, Steven Spielberg. Ended up being my favorite film of the year.
Because you are a song and dance man.
I didn't know this.
He definitely
Oh,
is.
you didn't know that?
No.
Oh,
He can
yeah.
break it down.
Well, I knew about that.
I literally was a
I
professional
knew that you were a little break dancer, but I didn't know
professional
musicals were
I
your
by
jam.
the way, there is-
I wrote my high school musical. The last 2 years I was in high school, I wrote the high school musical both times.
By
Not to
the
be
way,
confused
for all
with
of you
Zac
good
Efron.
You're the
Canadian
Steven
kids out there,
Sondheim of high school?
That was me.
there is a bounty for video footage of John breakdancing.
There
so
is.
If any of you out there have that footage on VHS,
There are 2 VHS tapes. but it's like the Ark of the Covenant at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark that's being packed away in the warehouse. It is safely stored away somewhere on the 200-acre Campea Ranch.
Do you know how many views that would get on YouTube?
Oh yeah, no.
Do you know how many memes that would birth?
But also, you're
Yeah.
making the assumption that you are the only person that has any copies of this video.
I am.
That was very Italian.
No
I
one
took
else.
care of the
Do
others,
you
Aaron.
still have VHS tapes? Oh yeah. We made sure of it. We
What
made
about
some
your
offers.
YouTube cover band? Is there any video of that?
Your
Yeah,
what?
there actually is some video
Yes.
of I mean, YouTube
Cover band?
Yeah.
What is that?
We had a terrible name too.
What was it?
It was
Oh,
called I
Was
don't
it
even
Us
want
Too?
to say it. It was a terrible
you
name.
have to say it now.
And I came up with it. And I
Oh.
thought it was the coolest name. And now it's like it was called Divided Time.
oh
And
my
it's
God.
awful. By the way, side note, last night Ann and I were talking and I came up with the greatest band name. We were talking about our water delivery service and Ann's like, when's it going to come? I said, I don't know, maybe by morning. And I'm like, maybe by morning is an awesome band name. I'm like writing it down. Because when I decide to switch careers and go into my music. Anyway, we got to get back to West Side Story.
Can that
So-
be a Duran Duran cover band?
Maybe
Oh
by
yeah,
morning.
maybe my morning is a great Duran Duran.
Right,
cover.
come on.
Ordinary world. Anyway, so West Side Story. I've been waiting to watch it again. And now we know when we're going to be able to watch it again. West Side Story is coming to Disney Plus. I believe it's set on March 2nd. Yes, so just about less than a month away. It's going to be available on Disney Plus. So Chris Carr is going to be able to watch
I can
it
finally see it.
which is very exciting. But here's the interesting thing. Although releasing on March 2nd is very interesting, but it's also releasing on HBO Max. And there's probably a very simple reason for it. Like, there's probably an extremely simple reason for it. But that struck me as very funny, entering into the age of the streaming wars, when exclusive content is king. And yes, we see movies all the time jump from one streaming service to the next. That happens all the time. But not a lot of these new movies coming up, big movies that are on two of the major platforms. So I'm not sure. Rob, was West Side Story originally set up as a Fox picture?
Yes.
So could this go back to the original deal, which makes you then wonder, how does Disney get to play it at the same time as HBO Max? But I guess that has something to do with. But look, I'm just excited that it's coming. I want to sit down and watch it 3 or 4 or 5 more times. I just, the power of this, I always mispronounce it, DeBose. Oh my God, I can watch her all day. Like that, the charisma and the power and the dancing and singing, the voice and the presence.
Incredible.
The thing I loved about her in this movie. Oh, of course, I look at Chris, but she hadn't seen the movie. But when she's surrounded by these ruffians, right? But she carries a screen presence. This has a lot to do with her character, but she brings this power. Like when she puts her foot down, like as a character, she carries that screen presence that you believe everybody around her straightens up. Right. And she just brought that to it. And I was so thrilled to see her get an Academy Award nomination for this. So I love this. Rob, you had a chance to, see that this is coming out March 2nd very quickly compared to when they announced it. But what do you think about that and the fact that it's going to be on HBO Max at the same time?
Well, first of all, I was kind of bummed because, I saw this movie. I went to the Chinese and saw it on their IMAX screen. It wasn't in IMAX, but I saw it huge and loud. And I've wanted to see Spielberg do a
By
musical.
the way, that's the name of my biography right there. just putting that out there.
Huge
By all
and
means,
loud.
Please continue.
But since the dance sequence in 1941 and the opening of Temple of Doom, I've always thought, he needs to direct a musical. So I've wanted to see him direct a musical for a long time. And I thought that the American number was
my number one scene of the year. My number one favorite movie scene of the year.
unbelievable. I mean, it was very different from the original. They opened it up, and my God, the way that he staged these sequences, it did not disappoint. And I'm a huge fan of the original Robert Wise's and Jerome Robbins' original West Side Story. And while there were certain things that I thought were I don't know if I liked them as much, but I thought the movie was great. And John, the fact that you have a PlayStation 5 with a disc player in it, I could loan you my 4K disc of West Side Story when it comes out, because I know how much you love physical media.
Oh yeah, I'm the physical media guy. Aaron, I don't know if ever did you have a chance? Did you and Tom have a chance to watch West Side Story?
No, I've been trying to keep a fetus alive.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that the little
We're
baby
just
thing.
finishing our 4th trimester next week, which we're very excited about.
Your fetus is healthy, yes?
Oh yes, he's very healthy.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's totally healthy. But it's just like they call the 3 months after a baby is born, because basically kids are born 3 months too early.
Right.
That's why they can't do anything, and they're just kind of larvae. And so for the first 3 months of their life, people are like, "Oh my God, are you happy? Is this like the greatest thing ever?" And I'm like, "No, all he does is like shit his pants and like scream." So, but now he's starting to become more of
he's one adorable baby. I watched a
I thought we
video
were
of
talking
you
about
holding
Tom
him
for a
up.
second. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
We are actually no. So sorry. Back to the point. Yeah. So I have not seen anything. I haven't even seen King Richard, and I'm in it. Both my husband and I are both in it. So no, we have not seen any movies. But now that our little larva is starting to become more attentive and cool and can hang out, then we're going to start watching all of the movies on our television and on our screen. So I'm very excited to see this. I'm trying to look up who did the choreography, but I love the fact that Tony Kushner, who wrote Angels in America, Tony Kushner did the screenplay, which I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
And that right there, I mean, yeah, obviously Steven Spielberg, GOAT, I get it. But Tony Kushner, GOAT in his own right.
Absolutely. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about West Side Story? Did you love it? Did you not love it so much? What do you think about it coming March 2nd? What do you think about it being on Disney Plus and on HBO Max at the same time? Whatever you guys are thinking, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, with that down, we have another off the top here, and this is breaking news. Breaking news. You guys know I'm actually very excited about what Sony is doing with their Spideyverse in the Sony Spunk, whatever they're calling it these days. I really like the Venom films.
Spidey Spunk?
Spidey, well, the Sony Pictures universe of Spider-Man something, and the acronym is SPUMK. So yeah,
what?
Spunk.
That's
Yeah, I know.
Workshop that at all?
We made fun
they
of them
probably should have done a focus group
a little bit,
to just go, hey, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Spidey Spunk?
but they changed it recently. I think they realized enough people saw the John Campea Show that they realized Spunk is probably not the right acronym. So let's change. So they did change it recently, but I like the Venom films. I have a lot of fun with the Venom films.
I do too.
Super excited about Morbius. We're going to be talking about Morbius in a little bit, but there's another one that they have had on the drawing board and planning. And that is Kraven the Hunter, that they cast Aaron Taylor Johnson 18 years ago in. At least that's what it feels like at this point. A long time ago, they
Back when he
announced...
was making Savages.
Yeah, oh, that's right. It was right when he was making Savages. So they decided to do that, and haven't really heard a lot about it since. We've heard more about Madam Web and Spider-Woman, I think, is the other one they said.
Wait, are
they're
they
gonna
making
do.
a Madam Web movie?
Yeah. Wait, what? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
back to that.
My favorite dumb joke. I love it so much.
So with all of that, but we haven't really heard much. Like they attached a director to Spider-Woman. They've cast Madam Web with Dakota Johnson. A lot of stuff, but we haven't heard a lot about Kraven the Hunter, making us wonder, hey, what's going on with Kraven the Hunter? Well, spank me and call me Billy, because this is damn good news. I got some great news today. My favorite actor has joined Kraven the Hunter, as it has just come out that Russell Crowe is joining Kraven the Hunter. Russell Crowe, Academy Award winning actor, multiple nominee, by the way, star of Gladiator, which we just did our movie club on yesterday. Maximus is here. He's going to be in Kraven the Hunter, joining up with Aaron Taylor Johnson. I love this. This is just breaking news now. This comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter, who writes, Russell Crowe will join Sony's Marvel movie Kraven the Hunter. The Oscar winner will join Aaron Taylor Johnson, who last year signed a multi-picture deal to play the titular anti-hero with the first film slated for January 13th, 2023, less than a year away. Story details, including Crowe's role, are being kept in a cage, but many of the main characters are said to be Kraven family members. So J.C. Chandor is directing the film from a screenplay by Art Markham and Matt Holloway, and Richard Wenk. Avi Arad and Matt Tomlock are producing. Honestly, right now, there is not a piece of news about Kraven the Hunter that could have come out other than maybe Steven Spielberg deciding to take over the director chair for it. But
Make it a musical.
and making it a musical. There is nothing about this movie that could come out that would make me more excited right now than Russell frickin' Crowe joining this movie. I am so stoked for it. And this on top of, I wonder if this has something to do with it, because we saw recently, we were talking about video footage that came out of Russell Crowe in the gym.
Yeah.
He's been working out. It's like, what's he working out for? What's he getting himself in shape for? I think it might have been for a little bit of Kraven. Maybe he's the hunter hunting the hunter. I mean, I don't know. But for me, this is super exciting. I'm very stoked about this. Rob, what do you think about Russell Crowe joining up with Kraven the Hunter?
Dude, he makes every superhero movie he's in better. He made Man of Steel better. He's apparently playing Zeus in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
now he's going to
That's
be
perfect.
in Kraven the Hunt. Come on. I mean, you and I, ever since it's the 30th anniversary of Romper Stomper, which was where he played a neo-Nazi skinhead thug in Australia.
Yep.
He was amazing in this. By the way, no. It's 88 Films and is releasing a new 30th anniversary Blu-ray, which I know you're going to pick up.
Well, because, I'm the physical media guy.
You're the physical media guy. But I can't wait. I love Russell Crowe. We should do LA Confidential in Movie Club.
Oh, we should totally do LA Confidential
So good.
sometime. I mean, for me, the one that really made me take notice of Russell Crowe, we were talking about this on Movie Club yesterday, was The Insider.
Yeah.
I was telling
When
the
he
story
played
on
Jeffrey
it
Wigand.
because I wasn't really familiar with him, and I'm watching that and I'm like, who is this guy who's acting circles around Al Pacino? I mean, who does that? And just so yeah, super stoked about this. Anyway, Chris, what do you think about? I mean, we haven't talked about this. Literally, just
Yeah.
breaking right now. What do you think about Russell Crowe joining Kraven the Hunter?
I'm just so glad that they were watching Movie Club and we're like, you know who we should call? So thanks, guys. Good job doing that. I'm just so interested in who he could be playing, because we do have it's the Kravinoff family, right? Of his family
Yes.
members.
Yes.
What if he's that clone that Mr. Sinister made?
Oh,
That'd be hilarious. I know that wouldn't be a good movie, but I was just
Look,
like, that's
man.
the only one I could think of.
I love Mr. Sinister. He's one of my favorite X-Men villains, if not my favorite X-Men villain. I want to see him. I wanted him to be in Logan so bad.
But wasn't it just a clone though called like Skraven, where it had an X over his name?
I know. I know.
by the way, they
just don't know.
teased him.
I know.
In New Mutants.
I
teased Mr. Sinister
They
in New
teased him
Mutants.
in Logan too because the name of his corporation
Yep.
and all that. I'm like, bring on Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, there were some ditched plans there from Fox before the takeover. Anyway, Aaron, you hear about this? What do you think about Russell Crowe joining Kraven the Hunter?
I mean, I think Russell Crowe joining anything is always a good move. He, as you said, he elevates everything. And I love the idea of, I love him playing Zeus. I mean, Russell Crowe playing Zeus is the best casting since Alanis Morissette playing God in Dogma. Like, obviously, Alanis Morissette is playing God. Obviously, Russell Crowe is playing Zeus. That's just brilliant casting. And yeah, I mean, I also think it's really funny that the photo that they choose is him essentially looking like he's prepping for playing Santa Claus for next. I mean, it's like he's just got this jolly old, like, this is not the Russell Crowe that we have come to know and love. This is like somebody's favorite jolly uncle. And so I love the fact that this is the photo that they chose. But yeah, I really think that the whole, this whole franchise is really coming into its own. It started out with maybe, questionable promise. People were like, I don't know if this is going to work, but I mean, I feel like every single movie that they do continues to get better and better and better, building out this world. And I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, look, we watched Gladiator again this week, prepping up for Movie Club, and like, you forget how like phenomenal shape. But that Cinderella Man, which he was also amazing in,
Yeah.
like he was in really good shape, and he's kind of been the more, I love cake, Russell Crowe.
Well, especially in what is it,
Dustig is the- I
Unhinged.
believe
What was the? What,
Yes, yeah. When he was the
very
Road
big.
Rage
in that.
movie.
He was very big in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, but again, he's leaning less towards what's the name of the guy in Reacher?
Reacher.
Jack Reacher.
The actor.
John Krasinski.
Alan.
Rich or Alan.
Something like that.
Aquaman from Smallville.
Yeah.
So his body type has leaned away from that and more towards the John Campea frame a little bit in recent years. So it's good to see him like back in the gym. I want to see that Russell Crowe again. I want to see that Gladiator Russell Crowe again. So that's just me. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Again, this is just breaking news. We'll probably talk about more about this later in the week, but Russell Crowe has joined Aaron Taylor Johnson in Kraven. And I guess the other angle of this is the fact that this is the first legitimate piece of I was starting to wonder, is this Kraven thing still happening? They announced Aaron Taylor Johnson ages ago. Is this thing even still happening? But I guess everything's full speed ahead. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, we've got one more off the top here to do, and that is this. Speaking of spunk, going back into that Venom, Spider-Man, Sony, whatever verse that we've got going on, there is another one that's coming up pretty fast here, and that is Morbius. It's been delayed a couple of times. I'm, of course, very excited for this movie. I think Jared Leto, again, Academy Award winner. I love the trailers for it, especially that scene they released with Morbius like ripping through all those soldiers and everything like that. I have loved everything I've seen about it. It's been delayed a few times, but it is now coming out, and today they released the official poster for it. Which looks like a poster that is fulfilling some contractual obligations, unlike the really cool posters. But we've got this poster for it. Let me bring up another version of it here so we can see it all. So we've got this poster for it, and it looks like the DVD cover. I'm not going to lie to you, I don't like the poster.
No.
I don't like the poster. I way prefer the poster that is currently hanging in theaters that is just that tight close-up of him in the vampire face.
And that face is so cool. It's great. It's great makeup. The design of that character is great.
He looks fantastic.
Yeah.
He looks absolutely fantastic. So why they go with a poster like this? Looks like a cheap Hallmark Christmas movie. Jared Leto was a troubled teenager. This is his first Christmas home in 10 years, coming back now that he's got his life back together
Don't
again.
let him date your daughter.
Yeah, and Matt Smith in it looks like his older brother who's annoyed that he's back and wishes he was just gone. Of course, then his ex-girlfriend, anxious for his return. You got Harris down there on the bottom, who's his dad, and maybe the competitor for his love interest there in the other. I don't know. It's a bad poster. It screams 80s cheese with the two eyes and the buff. Go back and use... Rob, all I could think about was what you've told us a lot about this type of stuff is quite often now, actors have poster presence written into their contracts.
They have approval. They
have to make garbage like this. That other poster was perfect. But Rob,
you couldn't see that it was Jared Leto. You knew, but it's still, you know,
we saw the trailers.
You know, his agent's like, people don't know it's you. You got to get on the poster so they see your face everywhere.
Isn't his name on the poster?
Yeah.
I mean,
Jared Leto. Yeah,
he's the star of the movie. Yeah, but
look, maybe it's just me. What do you think about the poster?
First of all, okay, Marvel Comics has decades of incredible art, and yet they never go to these artwork. They never go to the like Bill Sienkiewicz. They don't go. DC did to do a great Batman triptych, but we just get these Photoshop posters that people who are, I don't know what they're thinking, but a movie poster should mythologize the movie that you see. One image should tell you everything you need to know about that movie. Your idea of a Christmas film where, I mean, it looks to me like Santa Claus decides to be a young man again and give up. Santa Claus has given up his job title and now he's going to go live as a normal man amongst humans. I mean, that's
like Lucifer, but Santa Claus.
Yeah,
now.
No one's going to get presents this year. I mean, it's just like, what is that? How does that say Morbius?
And hey, listen, again, I want to emphasize, I say this all the time about movie posters. Movie poster has had no impact on how good or bad the movie is.
No.
It's not even made by the people who made the movie. It has nothing to do with it. It's just a marketing thing. It's just a piece of marketing. But why would you put out a poster that is going to deter people from coming to see your movie? Like this, I don't want to be over, like, in all due respect, and I know there's some professionals who probably poured weeks of their lives into trying to make this poster. All due respect, but this poster is shit. This does look like, you mentioned Photoshop. This looks like a 16-year-old kid. Well, I shouldn't even say 16 because some of the 16-year-old Photoshop artists out there are
Boss
some
Logic to do
12,
a poster,
12-year-old kid in someone's bedroom. But yeah, go get just a signed Boss Logic. Get anybody, or just go back to that freaking, or pull all the talent in and say, look, we know we have it in your contract, but hey guys, you're going to make more money if this movie makes more money. This poster is not going to help us make more money. Would you guys mind if we make the other
20
poster?
people gave notes on that poster.
Yeah. No.
And that's part of the problem is that 20 people's notes probably got incorporated into it, which is why it's such a shit show. Is that like, too many cooks in the kitchen, and then you have something like this where it's trying to be too many things. And you know what? Here's another idea. Don't worry about pulling all the actors in and saying, I know we put this in your contract. Don't put it in the contract. just don't put that in the contract from the very beginning. To say, listen, if this is the hill that you're willing to die on, how about we just give you an extra $1,000 or whatever? Like, there's other. I mean, obviously, there's more nuance to it than that. But yeah, I agree. This poster is it's very pedestrian, and I think that it cheapens the movie. Like, I look at this poster, and it's not going to deter me from seeing the movie because I'm excited about seeing the movie. But if I weren't already interested in the movie, this would make me go, oh, this looks like a really cheap film. This looks like something that is not really worth my time. So if we're speaking to the people outside of the core fan base, which you want because you need to promote it outside of the core fan base, you need to have something that's at least intriguing. Oh, what is that? That looks kind of interesting. Let me learn more about that. And this poster doesn't do it.
Nope.
What do you think, Chris? You're taking a look at this. Is this are you going to be the one person here? Does this one work for you? Did it catch your eye? What do you think about it?
I want anything about this movie to get me excited about it. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't care about this movie in any way, shape, or form. I love Matt Smith. I'd give a go for this because I think he's playing a Hunger, the living vampire, I believe. And if he wears that outfit with those little red high heels, oh, yes, let's do that. But I could not care. And this poster reminds me of like a weird 90s DVD bin at Walmart, Donnie Darko situation. I don't know. Someone make me care about this movie. In the comments, let me know why I should want to see this.
See, because let me throw this out. How can you put that poster out when this is floating around out there? I mean, look at this. Like, I see that poster, I'm like, fuck yes. Oh yeah, give that to me. I want to see this. Or the one that was just on the cover of a Total Film. Remember the one we broke down? Like, how can you have any self-respect and put this out when this is also out there right now?
Well, first of all, you could just take that exact Batman poster and put Morbius the vampire and have it just say Morbius, and it would be better than that whatever god-awful Photoshop whatever.
And again, look, somebody in the live chat was asking, John, you said this doesn't affect how good or bad the movie's going to be. Why do you care? I care because I really want this movie to do well.
Right.
I want this movie to succeed. I mean, first, I want it to be good, but I want it to succeed so we can get more stuff like this. And that poster is not going to help this
Jared
movie.
Leto in a hoodie.
I mean, even just that alone, if you just made Jared Leto in a hoodie, the whole poster would have been better than this. It would have been better than this.
How about in a hoodie as a vampire?
Oh, well, now you're talking. But again, that other poster's already out in theaters right now. That's the tight half-face shot of him looking over. He's in the vampire face. It's like, this poster sings.
Somebody's probably like, well, we don't want audiences to understand he's a vampire yet. We want people to look at his handsome face. And
don't show them the
like,
trailer.
We don't want to tell everybody because there's lots of people that don't like.
We need them to know that there's a beautiful woman that he's probably going to have a love interest thing with.
Yeah.
We need them to know that there's an old guy too. It's just weird.
I would rather watch a Man-Bat movie, honestly. Like,
I mean,
give me that movie.
I just rewatched the first episode of Harley Quinn again. It's like, okay. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What are you? And listen, maybe we're in the minority. Maybe you guys are looking at this poster and you're thinking, you know what? This isn't half bad. This is actually okay. If that's how you feel, awesome. That's great. I celebrate that with you. I hope you do enjoy it. Anyway, guys, whatever you guys are thinking, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's now move into our main topics here today. And we already told you at the top how we select our main topics. Just, send them on into us. We want to hear from you. So for now, let's get into main topic number 1, shall we? Chris, what is our first main topic today?
This comes from Craig Matthews. I just read that some shareholders are trying to unite to vote Bob Chapek out as CEO of Disney. I don't think they'll have enough votes, but could this affect his role in the future? Thanks for the great show and all you do every day.
All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in, Craig. And look, it's no secret around here. I am not a big fan of Bob Chapek. I'm not a big fan of Bob Chapek or the job he has done as CEO yet of Disney on many levels, mostly from his complete, utter spite towards creators and artists to the way he's run the parks, which I've been educated on, thanks to our viewers have educated me on it. Now, look, I still cheer for him because I want him to succeed. I want him to do well. I want him to make a great, thriving, wonderful Disney empire. But he hasn't done it. And every time you see it now, there's been a lot of people, we see the hashtags going around, fire Bob Chapek, all that kind of stuff. I still believe you've got to give a CEO 3 years. and I know that's not popular to say, I still feel like you won't really know what this guy's vision is truly going to look like until you've given him 3 years. I feel the same way about a coach in the NFL. To really see what this coach is going to do with this team, you got to give them 3 years to put all the pieces in place, start to mold the culture, all that kind of stuff. You can't tell in the first year or two. That being said, there are a lot of people who would like to see him gone, and I wouldn't weep if he was removed from his position, to be honest with you. There's a story going around right now, and this was posted in the New York Post, that there is a movement amongst some shareholders and Disney fans who, at the upcoming Disney shareholders meeting, are going to try to vote Bob Chapek out of his CEO role. There are a couple of things that need to be noted about this. Number one, part of this story is saying that there's a movement among Disney fans, particularly Disney park fans, to buy Disney shares so they can vote in this thing, as well as like giving out contact information to major stakeholders in Disney to try to get them to vote Bob Chapek out at the upcoming meeting and all that kind of stuff. And that's interesting. That's fans trying to be proactive about something they love, and that's fine. However, what must be noted here is that there is a fundamental problem with the New York Post article and anybody who believes that they can vote Bob Chapek out as CEO. Shareholders don't get to vote on who CEO is. I mean, this is a fundamental thing. The board of directors hires the CEO. All right. The shareholders do not vote in. They don't vote who's the barista in the coffee lounge at Disney headquarters this week. The shareholders don't vote on that. They don't vote on the offices. The shareholders vote on the board. Now, this is where it does get a little gray and where this is probably coming from. One of the 11 board members who is up for renewal is Bob Chapek. Bob Chapek is on the board of directors. He's not the chairman of the board like Big Papa Iger was, but he is a board member. And his board seat is one of the board seats that is up for affirmation. Theoretically, in theory, what could happen here is that the shareholders theoretically could vote Bob Chapek out of his board seat. He would still be CEO. But for how long would he be CEO? Because if will the board then be forced into taking action? Would the board of directors have to take his removal from the board as a referendum from the shareholders? And would they then have to move him? But no, they are not. You cannot vote him out as CEO. He's still going to be CEO a month from now, no matter what. This comes us from the folks over at the Motley Fool, a financial site, who write the following. The annual shareholder meeting for Walt Disney is now 1 month away, and things could get a little heated. CEO Bob Chapek is in the crosshairs of angry theme park fans congregating on social media, and they're looking to challenge Chapek's leadership of the media giant as shareholders. Coverage of the anti-Chapek fever has been limited largely to Disney enthusiast blogs, but even Monday's New York Post article ran a piece on the backlash the CEO is facing. Could a loud group of angry shareholders oust Chapek from the corner office? The short answer is no, they can't. Disney's helmsman is on the ballot in next month's proxy vote, but it's not his corner office CEO role that is up for grabs. All 11 board members are up for renewal. In short, it's just Chapek's board seat, not his actual status at CEO. But it does get interesting because this has happened before. I think it was Eisner had his board seat taken from him, and that led to his ouster as CEO. If I'm not mistaken, I might be a little hazy on the history of that, though. So it's there. But look, before you get too hopeful, if you're somebody who wants to see Chapek removed, I do not see enough shareholders voting him out of his board seat. I mean, theoretically, it could happen. It could happen. But like I think when it happened with Eisner, it also had the backing of Walt Disney's grandson, and it had the backing of why am I freezing on not Tim Cook, Tim Cook's predecessor? Why am I freezing on
Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs. I don't know why I'm freezing on Steve Jobs here. But Steve Jobs and Walt Disney's grandson, two major stakeholders in Disney, they were also behind getting rid of him. There, as of right now, there doesn't seem to be any sort of movement like that, but it is theoretically possible. It's also possible that maybe enough votes get withheld from Bob Chapek, maybe not enough to get him out, but maybe enough to send a message to the board of Disney that enough people are unhappy with this. I mean, I don't know, maybe yes, maybe no. For me, again, if I was in charge, which I am not, I would say you got to give him a minimum 3 years and then let's kick his ass out. But you got to give him a legit chance. But I don't know, Rob, you're hearing about this. Number one, do you think there's any real possibility here that enough shareholders could muster enough votes to remove him from the board? Or is this kind of just like a pipe dream? And if you were a shareholder right now, would you give him more time, or would you say, listen, I've seen enough time to get him out of here?
The question I would ask is, who do you want to replace him? Like, getting rid of somebody is one half of the equation. The other half is, who do you get to put in his place? I mean, I'm sure everybody wants Bob Iger to come back. And disruption is fine if you have a path to putting that disrupted company back together. And I think that it's short-sighted to say, we don't like Bob Chapek's policies, so we're going to get rid of him. So you're going to leave what, a power vacuum at Disney? Is that something that we want to have happen? And I think it shows the kind of short-sighted thinking that is pervasive everywhere now. Well, we don't like this, we're going to get rid of it. Well, once it's gone, then what are you going to do? And I think that, look, like you said, I think it's a lot. Bob Chapek is a guy that he has been a corporate dude all of his life. Bob Iger was a guy who started out as a PA, like getting Frank Sinatra coffee. He learned a lot about talent, a lot about the entertainment business, a lot about relationships. Bob Chapek is not that guy. However, like you said, he's in a new, very responsible role that he has never had before. Give him time to see where he's going to go. He's going to make mistakes. Hopefully he's learned. And, you know, you get forged by fire. You don't just roll in and be like, well, I'm taking over from Bob Iger and it's all going to be fine. I say give him a chance.
What do, Aaron, you're following this. I mean, you're not the major, Disney head. I think that
I'm a shareholder.
You are a shareholder?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I am.
Well,
Absolutely.
then let me ask you straight up, as a shareholder sitting here in our room right now.
I mean, it's pretty easy to be a shareholder, guys. I mean, anyone,
Yeah, I know.
It's not like I
hop
have a
on Robinhood.
51% stake. I mean, anyone can go buy shares at Disney.
But as somebody who then has a stake in this a little bit, what do you make of this? Have you sensed from the public and anything like that there might be enough interest to out him at this point? And if you were voting in this by proxy or otherwise, would you vote to keep him in there? Or would you vote to kick him out?
Okay, well, I personally, I find this whole thing kind of ridiculous. Like, I don't understand. I've read the change.org petition. I've read the articles, and I don't really see a tangible reason other than, like Rob said, I don't like him, for why people think that he should be fired. I mean, let's just take a sports ball analogy. Charlie Weiss was hired as the head coach of Notre Dame. And in 2015, I believe it was 2015, my years are all wrong, don't quote me on that. But anyway, he was hired. They had a great season. Halfway through the season, he was offered a 10-year, $30 to $40 million contract. Well, 2 years later, the team was not doing well. They were losing. And Notre Dame big money people said, get him out of here. Well, guess what? Over the course of the next how many years, he was paid $26.4 million as his buyout. If the coach of a college football team has a contract buyout, you think that Bob Chapek doesn't have a buyout?
Well, he's got a huge golden parachute.
Exactly.
For sure.
So that's
he does.
the thing, is that if I am a shareholder, well, I am a shareholder, but if I were a major shareholder, and I'm looking
You're major in my eyes.
Right. Thank you, Rob. The thing that people are I think it's really ironic that people are saying, we don't like what's happening at Disney, so go buy stock in Disney. That's exactly what they want you to do. They want you to buy stock in Disney. The complaints that I'm hearing are, we don't like the way the parks are running. They're more expensive to go. He's laid off all those people. Well, guess who that makes happy? Shareholders, because it makes them more money. At the end of the day, all of these decisions, they are not made by a change.org petition with 100,000 people who clicked a button.
You're kidding.
They are made by money, honey. It's all about the money. And if his decisions as CEO are making the major shareholders money, they're going to let this ride on out and just let people get pissed off at the next guy that hits the news tomorrow. This is not going to go anywhere. And I mean, unless somebody finds a sex tape or unless there is something that contractually they can say, okay, you broke the Disney morality clause, then he's not going anywhere. Just because people are annoyed that they don't like the fact that the cost of tickets went up, guess what? It's called inflation. Everything's going up.
Well, I think Disney parks, again, I've been a Disney annual pass holder for about 7 or 8 years until last year. I no longer go to Disney. I won't step foot in there again because I had a terrible experience at the place. And so when I have a terrible experience at a place, I don't go back to that place. Funny how that works. But I didn't know when, the people who are big major fans of the parks are very upset. They're saying the experience is getting worse. They're saying, like, with all these things that are happening from the movie side, I've seen him make moves that I believe are going to, you're not going to see the chaos ensue in the next 24 months, maybe not even the next 36, but he's been making creative moves over there, removing creative people from power, putting in his bankers and stuff like that I believe are going to have horrible ramifications.
Pixar.
4 or 5. Pixar, there are already people, look, we've talked to people at Pixar. They are bubbling on the edge of a revolt at Pixar right now.
Especially with their new film, Red Panda, what is it? The new film that's coming out.
Seeing Red?
Seeing Red. Which I think looks so good.
Everyone has said, I've read things about how good that movie is. And that's the kind of movie that theatrically probably would have done extremely well. And that the idea to shift it over to Disney Plus, I think, is a huge error. A huge error.
Well, between that, look, it's just that he has had more black eyes in the year and a bit that he's been there than Bob Iger had. Because Bob Iger made missteps too.
Sure.
But Chapek has made more. But the John Carter situation, but between the Scarlett Johansson situation, which was a major embarrassment for the entire company, the removal of key creatives out of their executive positions, the repositioning of his faithful lawyer banker buddies into higher positions of authority over, to have people like Kevin Feige now, who doesn't even get the authority to decide where his movies and TV shows and products go. That's not his decision anymore. If he decides he's going to make a Doctor Strange 4, he doesn't get to decide if that's going into the movie theaters or if that's going whatever. That used to be their purview. It's not anymore. So I can understand why people are upset. I still think, Campea, why do you still say he's got to be given more of a chance? Because you do. Like, listen, I may not like the direction it looks like his philosophy is taking things, but until I give him a chance to get further down the road with it, I don't know for sure that his philosophy and his approach isn't going to work. And if you do pull the trigger and remove him, I want all of Disney fandom and people at Disney to know we gave it every opportunity to work. And I don't think they've given it every opportunity to work yet, as bad as I think it's been.
I mean, if all of us were fired after our first, now granted, he's been there for a year and a half, and probably if we made enough mistakes working, at McDonald's, my first job, over the course of a year, we'd probably be fired. But I do agree, when you are in a position like that, you do deserve a little bit of, give the guy a chance.
Yeah. And not even for him. Give yourself as an organization. You as an organization, put him in there. Mm-hmm. Give it a legitimate chance to see if it's going to work. Because look,
Exactly.
Sorry for the sports analogy. Troy Aikman's first season as the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. I can't remember, guys in the live chat, for those of you who know, he either won 0 games or 1 game in his first year as the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. They either went 0 and whatever, or they went 1 and whatever. I can't remember. 1 and 15. Thank you, guys. So vanilla and black and blue, and they went 1 and 15.
Not a great record.
What? He's got 3 Super Bowl rings and he's in the Hall of Fame. So you gotta, regardless of how disastrous it looks at first, you gotta give it a shot. Am I expecting him to turn things around? No, I'm not. But I hope he does, and you got to give him a chance to see if he does. So I don't know. Chris, what do you think about this?
Give him the chance outside of a pandemic.
Yes, and that's another key thing. Yeah.
That's the big thing here, y'all. And I'm so sorry that you don't like Disney Genie and the Lightning Lane and those things in your park. And I can't speak to your experience there, John, obviously, but also...
It was bad.
Yeah, and I believe you. I believe you.
Bring back Voyage Through Inner Space. That's what I want.
I was a Disney intern. I worked in the parks. I was friends with Mary Poppins and Mr. Smee. And you know what? Sometimes those Disney pass holders are real jerks. And so, sorry that things are expensive, but this park also is a business and they're trying to accumulate money. I can understand prices going up after being shut down after all this time.
Yeah, it's tough, but again, sometimes if you charge enough, you're going to do the opposite to make money.
Well, absolutely.
Because then there are people like me who are just, I'm just re-upping my Universal season pass. Thank you.
Oh my
very
gosh,
much.
come hang out with me.
Oh God, I love Universal.
I love
Park.
Universal.
Yeah, okay, that's it. We got to go more.
When I was at the other YouTube place, I would go write my scripts at the Three Broomsticks there. And so
Really?
like I have a bartender at a theme park, which is very embarrassing. But I just be like,
Or it's very awesome, depending
Pretty
on how you look
awesome.
at
Yeah.
it.
Anne would honestly go every day. If we
Oh, it's
had
the
time,
best.
we would hop. We've got our annual passes. We would hop in our car and drive to it every day if we could. So
love
it's
it.
and the one in Florida is supposedly even better.
it's so good in Florida.
So
Oh
I
my
think they
gosh.
just got to be careful. Anyway, guys, sorry, we're not this long time. Question is for you. What do you think about the situation? Look, they cannot vote him out as CEO. Okay, let's just get that straight. And it is very unlikely they're going to get enough votes to vote him out of his board seat. But is it possible they could get enough votes that at least raises some alarm with people to make them reevaluate? I don't know. I still say give him a chance, even though I don't like him and the job I'm sure he's a wonderful human being. I just don't like the job he's done right now. But hey, I still think we should give him a chance. How do you guys feel about this? Jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This is from JK Alzabar. Hi, John and team. Big fan of the show. I love the Oscars. It's almost like a holiday for me, and I'm really excited for this year's ceremony. But I have a question. How do the Oscars work exactly? How's a movie get nominated, and ultimately, who decides which movie wins in each category? I'm very curious about the whole process of the Academy, and I'd really appreciate it if you could do a Campea classroom.
All right. Thanks a lot for saying that, NJK. And yeah, any question about the Oscars? I love the Oscars. And of course, the nominations just got announced yesterday. But it's true, as many people, the Oscars is still the number one watched televised event that isn't a sporting event every year. As much as everybody watches the Oscars, it's still a little bit of secret sauce. And for Sony, maybe that'd be spunk, but it's secret sauce. And people don't really know how the inner workings actually happen. Who decides what gets nominated? How, like, out of 500 eligible actors, who decides who gets the 5? Who decides who wins Best
Publicists.
Picture? Well, yeah, but honestly, there is an intricate mechanism behind the scenes. No, I think, what's it called? The preferential ballot, I think is the name of the system. The preferential ballot, I think that's what it's called. The preferred system. Now, a couple of years ago, when I was back at the other place, known as Collider, one of my favorite things that we produced at Collider was something we called the Crash Course. And we produced many episodes of Crash Course, and it was a big team of people. We had our writers and our researchers and our visual guys and our editors and our hosts and stuff like that. And I thought the stuff that we were able to make with Crash Course was fantastic. One of the Crash Courses we did that was hosted by the extremely talented Ken Knapsack was we did a Crash Course on how the Oscars work. So I thought we would go back and take a look at this video a little bit, and we'll pause it through and give some commentary so we understand what's going on. But if you want to know how all this stuff works, let's take a look at here. So let's look at a couple of minutes of this video, shall we? Okay, let's run this.
The Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences is made up of around 7,000 filmmakers and film professionals. The organization itself
I forgot to unmute my microphone. Sorry about that. It should be noted that back when we made this, there was under 7,000 voting members of the Academy. All right. It's still a lot because, Golden Globes only had like 68 members. The Oscars had like 6,800. That number has now massively ballooned, like almost adding 50% more voters. It's like well over 9,000 voters now. So when we made this, it was just under 7,000. That's why he was saying about 7,000 voters. Okay, let's go back to this.
itself is divided up into 17 specific branches. There's a branch for actors, a branch for directors, one for editors, so on and so forth. I'm sure the lighting guys get one too. Nominees for each category are selected by votes from members of these specific branches. For example, only actors get to select the nominees for the acting categories, and only directors get to select the nominees for the best director category.
Okay, so this is something we've tried to point out a lot over the years about the various categories, is that you got to understand that the people who come up with the nominees are actually the people in that field. Screenwriters will nominate the people who get the nominations for screenwriting. Actors in the Academy put forward who is going to be nominated in the acting category. Directors put forward who's going to be. So you get all these 9,000 whatever members of the Academy, but they don't come up with the individual nominees. Yes.
There's actually a step before that, which is that the productions themselves actually put forward who they want to be considered.
Yes.
So for example, I'm going to use a movie that I really loved, Army of the Dead. Now, when Dave Bautista went to do Army of the Dead, he probably wasn't thinking this is going to be my Academy Award-winning role. However, the producers of the movie did say, if you go onto the Oscars website, it will say like, hey, these are the actors that we would like you to consider nominating. So there's actually a list that the people on the nominating committee choose from. It's not like they have to be aware of every single actor in every single thing. There is a guidebook even for the nominating process.
Right. So, but once we get to that stage, though, that these are all who's eligible, this is now all who's in the running, they then breaks down into the individual branch of the Academy to look after that. The designers, the music category, all that kind of stuff. And so they're the ones who actually look after who gets the nominations. Okay, so that's important to understand. So you can't blame an actor if your favorite visual effects movie didn't get a visual effects nomination. That's the visual effects professionals who put forward the nominations and gave us. So, but how do they get there? Well, let's get into this.
In other words, you only have fellow directors to blame for that Ben Affleck snub.
And not get nominated for the Academy Award. Because again, it's the directors in the Academy who put forward the nominations. Guess what? Those directors are members of the DGA. And the DGA just named him Best Director of the Year. I will never understand how Ben Affleck did not get nominated that year. But anyway, let's keep going forward here.
Not the Academy at large. For almost every category, a voting member submits a list of no more than 5 nominees for his or her individual ballot. However, Best Picture is different because it's Best Picture. With that one, everyone gets to vote, and each voting member must submit a list of between 5 and 10 nominees. That's a lot of homework. So now, how exactly do we turn all these ballots into nominations?
Okay, this is where we start to get into the meat of it. So now we know that the potential people who can be nominated has been brought in. It gets segregated out down to their individual branches, and the branches now deal with it. Now, once it gets to that point, how do you end up with 5 nominees? It's a little complicated, but they do a really good job here. Just listen to Ken and how he breaks this down. This is really interesting.
Well, it involves math, so get ready for this. When submitting a list of preferred nominees, Academy members rank them according to preference. The nomination ballots are initially sorted based on the voters' first place ranking. Got it? So if a potential nominee scores enough first place votes, sometimes called the magic number, it becomes an official nominee and you win the National League West. This magic number is reached by taking the total number of ballots received per category and dividing it by the total number of possible nominees plus 1. Told you there's math. If a selection receives this magic number of votes or more, it becomes a nominee. For example, say the magic number is 333 and Leonardo DiCaprio wins 337 Best Actor #1 votes for having sex with a bear. In this case, he automatically becomes a nominee.
Okay, so now we see that all the members of that branch get their ballots, they fill out their votes, and they rank them, right? And then if you get enough first place votes, and you cross that threshold, again, the math is determined by the number of votes versus the number of potential nominees, all that kind of stuff. So they come up with the magic number. In the example here, it's 333. So once Leonardo DiCaprio or any actor hits that magic number, that becomes a nominee. Now they break it down a little bit further here. Let's keep going here.
But now, what happens to everyone's second, third, fourth, and fifth place choices? After the first pass, the accountants, nope, not that accountant, real PricewaterhouseCoopers accountants sort through the remaining ballots, tough job, and remove the stack with the fewest votes. Let's use Adam Sandler as an example. No, really, let's use Adam Sandler as an example. Say Adam Sandler's performance in Grown Ups 2 received the fewest first place votes, 2, and that would be the case. That means he didn't hit the magic number, and those ballots are redistributed according to their second place choices.
this is where it gets really kind of key too, because now it's like, what do you do with ballots? Like, if you don't vote for the right first place vote, does your ballot just get thrown away? No, their ballots don't get thrown away. So in this example, if you were a member of the acting branch and you were putting out your ballot about who you should think should get a nomination, if you put at your number one spot somebody that nobody else votes for, well, your ballot still counts. And they're about to explain here how and why it does.
So say one of those ballots has Forrest Whitaker at number 2 and the other one is Ryan Gosling at number 2. Tough choices. This means the Forrest Whitaker pile gets another ballot and the Ryan Gosling pile gets another ballot. If either of those actors hit the magic number after this process, great, they get a nomination. Now let's say Tyler Perry has the second smallest pile with just 3 number 1 votes. A travesty, really. Those ballots are then reassessed according to their number 2 pick. Daniel Day-Lewis is number 2 on one, so there's another ballot for his pile. Matt Damon is number 2 on another one, so he gets one as well. What happens if Adam Sandler is number 2 on the third? It could happen. He's already been eliminated, so then we move on to the number 3 spot on that ballot. Eddie Redmayne! Congratulations, Eddie! Now Eddie Redmayne's pile gets another ballot.
Okay, so if your ballot had one of the lowest ranking people like Adam Sandler, well, then the next person down on your list, they get your number 1 vote. And that goes to them, in this case, like Eddie Redmayne or one of the other people. So now that number goes up, and these charts continue to go up until you get 5 people hit that magic number, which he's about to get to here.
The ballots continue to be redistributed in this manner until we have our 5 nominees. Still with me? Good. Once all the ballots have been tabulated and the nominees are named, new ballots are sent out to every Academy member. After the nominees have been chosen by that category's experts, everyone gets to vote on every category.
That's the key thing. Once the nominees are determined, once they get 5 nominees hit the magic number and you've got your 5 nominees, then voting on the winners becomes a matter for the whole Academy. So not the whole Academy determines who gets nominated, but once the individual branches put forward their 5 nominees, then the whole Academy takes those 5 nominees and then votes on the nominees, and that's how they come up with the winner. Again, it's a little tricky. It involves math. It's got that thing called the preferential ballot, but we've got a couple of SAG members here. So I'm actually very curious to see now, seeing how the Academy does it. You guys are involved in voting for winners of the SAG, I think the second most prestigious thing beside the Oscars, particularly when it comes to acting. How does that process work? Is that a similar process to the way I honestly don't know how SAG does it. So how's the process differ from the way the Academy does it here?
Well, Chris is actually on the SAG nominating committee this year. I was
Yeah.
Oh, I
years
totally
ago,
forgot about that.
But
That's
I've forgotten
right.
how it all works. So she would be a great person to ask as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've both done it, so that's very exciting. But at random, basically, the union selects several different actors who will commit to saying that they'll watch all these films, go to screenings, and vote. The big thing is just committing to vote on time.
To do the nominations.
Yes. And so basically, SAG is lovely and kind of wines and dines us. We have lots of opportunities to go to different screening events and everything, see all these films, hear from the actors, get screeners sent to us very, very early, and a lot more screeners than what we usually would see, just like Aaron pointed out earlier. Anyone who thinks their actor should be considered, basically, is pushing that movie forward to us. That's why I got things like The King's Man, which, you know, maybe wouldn't be your usual, like, awards fodder. And still wasn't. Sorry, guys. But so basically then from there, we have a ballot that we can select with a huge list of all these different actors that different studios are telling us we could nominate. We go through, we vote, and we can only select a certain amount. I believe it was 10 per category that we can select as nominees. And then once that is all in, then SAG contacts the rest of us saying, hey, these are your SAG nominees for the year. We'll send you your screeners, which they're now doing digitally so we can lower our carbon footprint. Yay, union. And then we all vote on it. And then we see that, you know, at the
And
SAG
with
Awards.
each of those screeners, there's always an additional piece of paper that's like for your I mean, I don't know how this works. Probably not in other cities, but in Los Angeles and probably New York, there are for your consideration billboards everywhere during Oscar season. And it's just like this movie that came out 7 months ago for your consideration. And they do that as advertising and reminders. And with all of the screeners, they actually include when they are sending out the physical copies, they'll send out a piece of paper that says, for your consideration, these are the people whose performances we
forth.
want you, like, don't pay attention to Erin Cummings as the social worker. She's not up for nomination. Pay attention to Ingenue Ellis and Will Smith. They're the ones we want you to take a look at. So they will focus your attention into the people that they want you to be looking for.
So, Rob, look, when you look at this thing, you can think there's a lot of math. It seems a little convoluted, but personally for me, when you go through it, I go, at the end of it, I go, you know what? That's actually a pretty good system. Because it also prevents a lot of people from trying to sway how it goes, like the way it goes with the preferential ballot system. So I personally like it, even though it's a little bit convoluted. What do you think about the Oscar system there?
Well, I think it's pretty good, but make no mistake, there's campaigning going on
For
for
sure,
months.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there are publicists, there are events, there are screenings. I mean, how many Dune screenings with Denis Villeneuve and the cast and the below the line people were at the Warner Brothers Steve Ross Theater?
Exactly.
I went to one. Thank you, Michelle. There was lots going on, and it happens for months because obviously an Oscar win means a lot for the studio. It means a lot for the actor. It means a lot for production companies. It means a lot for agencies. There's a lot of clout that goes into winning that Oscar. And I think that there's a lot of, Harvey Weinstein, read about how he gamed the system.
Yeah, but I hear that a lot. But I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all because Rob, I know you. It doesn't matter if you got a swag bag, and it wouldn't matter if you got to go see a certain screening with the director of the thing. That wouldn't influence how you actually voted at all. I know I've been like, listen, I got flown out to this fancy thing. I got to go to the world premiere of The Rise of Skywalker. I got to meet the cast, blah, blah, and I still walked out of that thing. I said, that movie was shit. So I don't buy this excuse that this campaigning has a massive influence on people, because I know it wouldn't influence you, and I know it doesn't influence me. So maybe some people it does, but I just don't buy it.
It's also an awareness factor. There's a lot of people that
I totally agree with you on that.
And
yes.
you because not everybody can see everything, and you go to an event, and it's like when people go to premieres, their opinion of a movie can be, perhaps not as considered as it would be if they weren't at a premiere seeing it for the first time. So there is a lot of glad handing. There's a lot of actors meeting people personally. So there is, it's like a political campaign as well. It can be. And if you look at it, if you look at the people that actually win or the people that are nominated, there still is a little bit of, it's not like you don't see a lot of dark horse candidates that come from the indie world that suddenly sweep the Oscars by storm. That happens, but not as much as you would hope it would.
I think that's probably bigger on the best picture category, because there are certain people like, Chris Cooper is not an actor who's going to go out there and campaign. Frances McDormand could not. I mean, anytime the camera goes to her, she's like, get that thing out of my face. I mean, she is not campaigning at all. So on the individual level, I don't think that's true, but definitely I can see on the best picture category, that is definitely more of an issue. And thank God that we have PricewaterhouseCooper, who does all the accounting
on that.
because that's some complicated math stuff.
Yeah, I don't think you could buy an award. I don't mean to say that. I think that.
I mean, you can buy a Golden Globe.
Yes,
Yeah.
you totally
You
can buy a
definitely
Golden Globe. Yes.
but
You just can't buy an Oscar.
There still is. I mean, you see front runners, and I've never seen an Oscar campaign where there might be winners. Like you and I both love Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah.
I honestly believe Shakespeare in Love absolutely deserved to win that Oscar. That movie is a wildly entertaining movie, and yes, it was up against Saving Private Ryan. Very different kinds of films in terms of tone. But I would say that it's just as hard to make a movie like Shakespeare in Love as it is to make a movie like Saving Private Ryan.
See, that's the thing, because I agree with you about the awareness factor, about trying to make sure this is always front and center in front of the voters' faces. But the perception, here's what happens. We as individual people, we love to make excuses when things happen that we don't want to have happen. My favorite movie didn't get nominated? Well, that's because that other film bought it. No, I mean, you can be 5 years old and believe in Santa Claus like that if you want, but that's not what happened.
You can be 50 and believe in Santa Claus too.
Sorry, I shouldn't take that away from you. But I mean, you can be naive and believe that if you want, but that's not what happened. Because if that were the case, guess what? Like, I saw The Lost Daughter. And I just, well, I mean, this isn't going to be like an Oscar thing, but wow, it was great and all that kind of stuff. The Lost Daughter did not have 50 cents to put into an Oscar campaign, and it got some of the biggest nominations, right? Now, a lot of people like me who don't really love Don't Look Up. And again, I wouldn't have voted for Don't Look Up. I didn't think it was that. I mean, I liked it, but I didn't think it was that good. But instead of trying to come up with some clandestine conspiracy theory about how maybe I just accept that there are other people who watched it who did really like it that much, even though I didn't. And that's probably the case. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a difficult thing, but I think this process, unlike the Golden Globes, which you were pointing out so accurately, when you only have 68 voting members, all you got to do is take 12 of them to lunch in France, and all of a sudden you just swayed 25% of the vote of the things. You have nearly 10,000 members of the voting academy with a preferential ballot system that, again, is not perfect, but I think it insulates it a little bit.
And also members who are voting who do what you do.
Exactly.
Yes.
Unlike the Golden Globes, where it's not people who are professionals in that. Like, I don't know anything about lighting design. I don't know anything about sound editing. So I shouldn't be nominating in those categories. I mean, hell, I shouldn't even be voting in those categories, which is probably why I'm not part of the Academy. But, you know, I mean, there's also an element of, how do I say this? Well, okay, the guy who created the polio vaccine, when it all came out, he didn't give credit to any of the people who he was working with, any of the people in his lab, he took sole credit for it, even though it wasn't a singular thing. And so when the Nobel Prize for Medicine came up, he was snubbed. Why was he snubbed? Because people didn't fucking like him. And so there's a certain degree of like, if I'm going to be nominating certain actors, as an actor, if I know that like this person was a total perv asshole on set, and I mean, there's a reason why a certain person a few years ago in the wake of the Me Too movement won the Golden Globe and was totally snubbed for the Oscar.
There's still a human element to it.
There is a human element.
Yeah, there's absolutely still a human element to it. Yeah.
Wow, you know what? I don't care how good your performance was. I've worked with you, and you don't deserve a standing ovation.
We're seeing that in the sports world, too. We're seeing people in various Hall of Fames not getting into the Hall of Fames.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's a part. So there's obviously, just like the film itself as an art, there's absolutely a human element to it. Again, that's why, unlike the Golden Globes that has 68 members, having a body that's like 10,000 members helps that situation a bit, but it's still a human element. Anyway, guys, question is for you. I've had a lot of people writing in the last couple of days asking, how exactly do the Oscar nominations work? I hope, even though it is kind of complex, I hope that made it a little bit more clear for you. What do you guys think about all that? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. But before we get into that main topic, by the way, I'm going to remind you guys that we are going to be going into full spoiler discussion about Boba Fett's episode last night. So if you don't want to hear any of that, now's a good time to tune out. I'll give you a second to tune out. So we're going to take a minute right here, pay some bills, and hear from the sponsor of today's episode, making this episode of the John Campea Show possible, the great, heroic folks over at Manscaped. Hey guys, we want to take just a second and thank the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Now listen guys, you know, it is not the 1970s anymore. It is not cool for a man just to let his balls look like the deepest, darkest jungles anymore. You want to keep them trimmed. You want to keep them tidy. And there's nothing I entrust more to the well-being of Dr. Jack Hammer and the amazing Fantastical than the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0. This thing trims like a finely tuned machine for my finely tuned area. But wait, there's more. Because today I'm excited to let you guys know about Manscaped launching their new Ultra Premium Collection. Believe it or not, it's not for your not-so-private parts. I am talking about a leveled-up overall hygiene routine with your favorite manly scents. Now, in the special Ultra Premium Collection, we're talking about premium Manscaped deodorant. Don't just take care of your balls. Gotta take care of them armpits too, guys. A hydrating body spray. Listen, you got tattoos or issues with any dry skin? Well, this spray-on lotion lotion is designed to keep your skin feeling moisturized, smooth, and dudes smelling fresh. And you guys have heard me talk about the body wash. This body wash was a revelation to me. I use it every freaking day. They've also got a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, plus a free gift, a 3-pack set of lip balm for guys who are taking care of their lips. So here's what you need to do. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code Campea, Campea, at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code Campea at manscaped.com. The power of attraction is now in a bottle, thanks to our friends at Manscaped. All right, and remember, guys, to use that code Campea when you visit our friends over at Manscaped. And again, thanks to Manscaped for making today's episode possible. Okay, guys, now with that down, let's get into main topic number 3. Again, warning about spoilers, so if you want to tune out now, because we're going to talk about Book of Boba Fett. Chris, what is our third main topic today?
Our third topic here
Is missing?
needs to be sent to me.
Oh, you don't have it?
No.
Oh!
I was going to cheat and look at the screen. I
All
don't
right.
have the new one.
Let's cheat and bring it up on the screen.
Thank you.
Here we go.
It's from Janet. Thoughts on Boba Fett?
From Janet.
I finally oiled machine
Janet.
around here.
Thanks, Janet. Thoughts on Boba finale? Please keep Robert Rodriguez away from Star Wars. His signature just doesn't work with this franchise. Feels too Power Rangers and cringy. But the writing by Favreau let me down too. It was all so dumb and telegraphed. And Mando season 2 ending feels like a waste now. Haha. Should have spent these last 2 episodes developing the city and villains.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. And yeah, last night was the last episode of the Book of Boba Fett. A series that, to me, I've been on the fence about because I was pretty disappointed with it for a while. Then it had some stronger episodes, and I felt like, okay, I'm right on the fence. This final episode is going to be the final tipping point for me. Which way is it going to go? And I'll say this. I thought it was a fairly strong episode. Fairly strong. It did some things in it that I thought were wonderful. I loved, get very Godfather vibes when Boba Fett realizes he's being betrayed by all the other crime families. Again, that to me echoed of Godfather kind of moves, and I really like that. I'm not going to lie. I love seeing Boba Fett riding in on a Rancor. It's pretty damn cool. Although, I didn't realize Boba's palace was 2 blocks away. Because, man, he got there fast. Woo! He got there fast. And again, as he's flying back to his palace, I'm like, so why have you been walking into town all this time? But whatever. I thought the conversations again with Cad Bane were great. Although, why does Cad Bane decide to get involved at the point he got involved instead of being involved right from the beginning? Not really sure. When the giant destroyer droids show up and they've got the shields that clearly were blocking all the lasers, why is everybody still shooting their lasers at the
Wasting a
giant
lot of ammo.
shields? Especially when there's, I still call them kite members, or the pike members.
Pike.
Other pike members with no shields standing around. Instead of shooting them, you're still shooting at the thing that's got whatever. Okay, I get that. That's fine. I still, at the end of the day, overall enjoyed the episode. Again, I like the interaction between Boba Fett and Mando. By the way, this was finally a Boba Fett episode. Like, Boba Fett, they made him the star of the episode. Like, even kind of directing Mando in a bit. It's like, I got to go get more stuff. You protect these people. The way they interacted and all that kind of stuff. I love seeing them fighting side by side. Like, that scene when all the pikes are on the street and all of a sudden they're reading the terms, and all of a sudden here come 2 flying Mandalorians and they're like picking everybody off. Number one, I'm thinking this is awesome. Then when they land, I thought, why did you land? In the words of Obi-Wan, you have the high ground. You're like up there picking everybody off. Why land? But then again, I don't know the technical specs on their backpacks. I don't know how much flight time they have. Maybe they felt they needed to conserve it. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. So I'll give it that. Seeing Black Chrysanthemum wreck shop, that was cool. Even when it took like 10 Trandoshans to get him down, I was like, this is pretty cool. I felt my heart broke a little bit when the Gamorreans got thrown off the cliff.
I know.
It's like, come on, the bacon. I mean, they were gone, and I felt
They
so
did them
bad.
dirty.
They did them dirty. And was it bad of me that when the Vespas started to ride in, I was like, please kill them. oh, I hope they die horribly right here. Is that bad? I don't know. But I still hate everything about the Mos Espa Vespas. Nothing about them was redeeming at all. Not even in this thing. All of a sudden, okay, so these are street kid punks who are like harassing local shop holders. We need to take a stand and protect the people of our town. Fuck you. You've never thought that in your life. And I'm not going to buy into it now with these ridiculous, stupid, awful characters
well,
that
no
they must
one
never
else
revisit
saw
again.
what their potential was finally seen. That's what they needed. They just needed for
Someone
Boba Fett
to believe in them.
Yes, they needed for
They were
Boba Fett
just
to
like-
go, hey, I see all this excitement and energy that you have. We could harness that and do it for good. And they're like, finally, I feel seen.
Yeah, I'm going to
Hanging
make you
outside
warriors.
the cantina, rapping parents just don't understand.
Exactly.
They're like, man, if only I had a strong guidance system.
And listen, Baby Yoda showing up, I think, is the fulfillment of what the last episode was, because it now gave us context. Him showing up alone without Luke, R2 flying him in there and all that kind of stuff, showing the shirt. It explains. So we now know what his predicament was. We understand what his conflict was and ultimately the decision he made. So that had some power to it. I like the way it ends with him and the Rancor. Although why everybody started shooting at the Rancor when the Rancor was just jumping around, I'm not really sure. That made no sense to me, whatever. Okay, sure. So again, there was a bunch of bad. I thought there was a bunch of good. I love the way Fennec ended up taking care of family business at the end, just killing everybody. And that the way she did the mayor, I'm gonna hang you. And she kills the mayor, takes out everybody. It reminded me at the end of the first Godfather when today all family accounts get settled. That's what it felt like to me. A very Godfatherian kind of thing. So I like that. But at the end of the day, for me, Book of Boba Fett is going to go down as a bit of a quandary for me. I at the end of it, I wasn't quite sure what the purpose of the show was. At the end of it, I still don't really know what the character journey of Boba Fett himself was, especially with the end line going, we're not cut out for this. Couldn't you have thought of that before? Now that you've won everything, we're not cut out for this. Clearly just setting up that Boba Fett is going to be in Mandalorian Season 3. They're going to go retake Mandalore together. So they set that up. Some criticism I saw from some people saying, and there's a point to this, was that this season of Boba Fett, particularly the finale, undoes the finale of Mandalorian Season 2. This huge, amazing moment of Luke showing up, taking Baby Yoda to fulfill his destiny as a Force user, and then Luke just goes, it's not really in it. I'll let you go.
Do you want a shirt or a sword? How are you feeling?
Which one do you want? I was kind of half waiting for Baby Yoda to pull out Yoda's sword and start wrecking shop too. But so I've seen some criticism that it kind of undoes the power of the ending of Mandalorian Season 2. And I didn't feel that way personally, but I can totally see where that feeling would come from. So yeah, at the end of it, I was just like, and I was worried when I found out Robert Rodriguez was directing this episode. And I think there was enough good stuff in there that maybe could have been accentuated, some cheesy stuff that maybe wouldn't have felt as cheesy in the hands of a different director. I don't know. So again, fairly strong, still highlight a lot of the weaknesses of the series overall. And at the end of the day, I still don't know how I feel about this series as a whole. I still don't know. I kind of wish it didn't happen. I do. I kind of wish this Book of Boba Fett series didn't happen, because I think I'm going to be divided over it. And I think fans are going to be divided over it. And I kind of wish it wasn't there. But I know, Rob, you had a chance to watch the finale of Book of Boba Fett. I know you've been on the same boat as me, some stuff you've liked about it, some stuff that's been very why are they doing this? How did you feel about the finale, and how do you feel about the series overall?
In the last version of whatever version they made of Star Wars, when Greedo shoots first,
Right.
he says this word, McClunky.
Right.
I didn't know what that word meant until I watched this episode of the Book of Boba Fett, because the entire episode is McClunky. I couldn't stand this. I watched this. I thought it was one of the dumbest, most insulting, not the stuff that's in it. There's lots of cool stuff that's in it, but it was presented I was more sophisticated in the second grade than this episode was. And I'll tell you when this episode lost me. Fennec Shand is explaining to Boba Fett where their forces are. We have the Mos Espa Vespas in the workers' part of town. And then you cut to the Mos Espa Vespas driving through the center of town. Then you have Blacker Stanton standing in the middle of the street in front of the mayor's office or wherever he is. And then we've got the two Gamorrean guards standing out in the open, waiting for the rest of the Pikes to show up. These people are outmatched and outgunned. Why is Blacker Stanton not on a roof somewhere with a sniper rifle, undercover, not standing in the middle of a street when they know war is about to break out? Why are two Gamorrean guards standing out in the open, waiting? There's two of them. They're outmatched and outgunned. And then we've got two of the Vespas just, puttering their way through the town. This is the beginning of a fight. Have you ever watched any Western or any crime thriller or any shootout where the dudes are, watch the end of Silverado, where everybody is like undercover. I mean, these people are standing out in the open, and I'm like, okay, how am I supposed to take this as an astute viewer of this kind of entertainment? I've been watching it my whole life, and I'm listening. First of all, Fennec Shand is literally narrating where one shot would have done better. Let's see Blacker Stanton on the top of a building with a gun or a bowcaster there with his, and have some kind of digital readout showing he's got the entire street ready, and he will kill anyone who comes anywhere near them. And I'm watching these people, and I'm like, are these people all dumb? What kind of strategy is this? And then, of course, you go back to your palace. You don't get the Slave One and begin an aerial bombardment. You ride in on your Rancor, where you can get shot at from 360 degrees. When you can start, you don't need a backpack when you've got your own damn fire spray. It's called a fire spray for a reason. It can spray fire from the air. And I'm watching this going, none of these people are smart. They're all dumb. And everything that happened is dumb. And why am I watching this? Why is Boba Fett dumb? And it's not that I like the scenes. Hey, don't get me wrong. I love Boba Fett riding a Rancor. That was cool. But he's got a starship that has great firepower coming from the air. You were undermatched and outgunned. And why are you standing around in the middle of a street? And he's like, I'm surprised that these three crime families, they didn't do what they said they were going to do. They actually, oh my God. I'm like, come on. I mean, my God, it was so angering to watch this because all the stuff was cool. Boba Fett riding a Rancor, awesome. Watching Mando and Boba Fett come down from the sky, like you said, they are flying next to each other. Just, it was awesome. And then they land. And you're just going, why am I watching this? This is not sophisticated. It is not cool. And worst of all, it makes Boba Fett look dumb. And that's, I'm like, I was watching, I should think this is cool.
There's a moment there when Mando and Boba Fett are inside the building. And when they realize they've been betrayed, Mando says, on the behalf of the other crime families, that was the smart move to align themselves with the Pikes. And then Boba Fett says, yeah, it was. You didn't think about that before? And here's the other thing. When the Mos Espa Vespa girl says, when he suggests we'll hold up at the fortified fortress of the palace, and she's like, well, we can't abandon these people. The Pikes aren't here to take out the people. The Pikes are here to take out you. And if they kill you, who's going to protect the people? Go hold up in the palace.
where you have a fire spray that you could circle around until someone shows up and from a distance take mofos out. No one will touch you.
I think that's the issue, though, too, is that every decision Boba Fett tried to make, everyone said, no, bro, I don't like that. That's not a good idea. I don't want to die on this hill. And he'd be like, you're right. Okay. And I just wanted some leadership from him. I just wanted him to be making the calls that we went with and having his group support him, as opposed to like, hey, buddy, let's take it easy here.
That palace is Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
You've got the orcs coming. They're going to have to go to you, dude. I can't. I'm like, has any of the... Look, the writing of this was so monumentally pedestrian. It was McClunky. And I'm watching this going, what? Have you not seen any crime movie ever? This should have been like Heat, the gun battle in the streets of LA and Heat. It should have been that cool. You know, the battle of the Death Star at the end of Star Wars is awesome. It's awesome. You know, when the fighters come in, when the TIE fighters come in, it builds and it builds and it builds. And it is awesome. And when the Millennium Falcon shows up at the end and Han Solo is able to save Luke so he can get a clear shot, you stand on your feet cheering. I just sat there when Fennec Shan's going, well, we have our troops here. Cut to Black Krrsantan standing in the middle of the street going, dude, hide. Someone's going to throw a thermal detonator at you and it's going to blow you up.
Well, the other thing was, too, the whole strategy of that completely dispersed what little forces they had. Like, we were expecting to be attacked, so let's spread everybody out. And here's the other thing. The undermining of Boba Fett, you're talking about show some leadership. This may be a little thing to me, but right back from when he met the Vespas, when he's never seen them throw a punch, they're just punk kids. And he says, oh, you're going to work for me now. And I remember at the time going, why? Why are you hiring them to be your muscle? But here's the thing. As they're standing around there, and Boba Fett says, the smart thing, let's go, we're going to hold up at the palace. It's defensible. We give ourselves an advantage here. And the girl says, well, we're staying here. Boba Fett would pull out his gun and say, you want to rethink that answer? You work for me, and this is what we're doing. But he got talked out of the smart, strategic decision by a Vespa rider.
There's not even doors and windows. They've been blown out. There's not even a place these guys can come right in. You can't even lock a door.
But let me go over to you guys.
I was angry.
Because again,
I like that, Rob.
Now, the good stuff that was cool, I still really like. I got a big kick out of it, and at the end of it, I'm like, well, I still think this episode was better than the first few episodes. But what about you guys? Aaron, you've been bullish on the Boba Fett series so far. What did you think of the finale?
I thought it was great. I mean, here's the thing. I totally understand everything that you're saying, Rob. You're right. There were a lot of dumb moves. And there were a lot of ends that were just not very neatly put together. To me, the series as a whole, I did enjoy it. I'm glad that I saw it. I did not, and by the way, I'm Southern, so if I say Boba Fett, deal with it. It's my accent, okay? I know his name is Boba Fett. It's my accent. So, like, I actually liked getting to know the character of Boba Fett. I think Tamara Morrison is a brilliant actor, and now I'm fascinated by it.
He's great.
I want to see everything that he does. I wanted the show to be extended longer. And that's what I felt was the biggest problem. Not that the show exists at all, but that it exists in such a tiny squeezed together way. I did like the fact that in this episode, we see all of these storylines. We've been like, why are they talking about this? And then they jump to that. And then they jump to this. Now it all came together so they can all, fight against the Pike together. What I was confused about, though, is where was Cobb Vanth? Because they clearly, what's the guy? The
Timothy Oliphant?
No. The guy with the
Cad Bane.
Cad Bane clearly did not kill him. You had this whole episode about Cobb Vanth and the whole thing where he comes back and he's this awesome character and I love him and Timothy Oliphant is great as that role. So why is it that he clearly shoots him in the right shoulder? He takes the bullet and falls down, and then Cad Bane shoots the other guy like 4 times. We know that guy's dead. Good, because he was annoying. But then everybody rushes over to Cobb Vanth, and the episode ends with the assumption that he's still alive. So then all of a sudden at the end, they're like, where's Cobb Vanth? And the bartender's like, oh yeah, they killed him in cold blood. No, they didn't. They shot him in the rotator cuff.
Well, also...
And then he shows up later.
Yeah.
He shows up in the post-credit scene. Oh, you didn't see the post-credit scene?
There's a post-credit?
Yes, there's a post-credit scene.
Yeah, where he's in the Bactopod.
Because remember at the final scene before the credits, Boba Fett's walking down with Fennec, saying, we're not cut out for this. Then what has this whole show been about anyway?
Well, I remember them saying that somebody was going to...
The Bacta tank is being taken up right now.
Right, and I was like, who's in the Bacta tank?
It was
did they put his body on ice?
For a
how long
shoulder
did it
wound?
take them to get Cobb Vanth from another city over into the... When did they have time?
And at what point did they realize, did he twitch? It was like, oh, we thought this whole time he was dead.
It's a shoulder wound. I'm sorry. I saw the way that he took that. They should have made it a stomach hit or something. They should have made it something a little bit more than that. So that annoyed me. That definitely annoyed me. And so there were a lot of things that just loose ends that weren't tied up that I think that had the episode been, or the season, excuse me, been a few more episodes, it wouldn't have felt so clunky. I did like the Rancor doing the little homage to King Kong off the side of the building. I thought that was a cool shot.
I like the shot too. I did like that Rancor shot.
I love the, the way that, Cad Bane, he's so Clint Eastwood in the way in the performance. I really love him, and I actually do like him coming out after everybody's like, okay, kill all the people who don't matter first, and then I'm gonna come out.
Then boss level. Then you hit boss.
I kind of like that, but I agree with you, Rob. It was kind of sloppy. It was just sloppy.
Kinda.
Okay, it was very sloppy. And there were a lot of really cool moments, but they just didn't track if you're a smart viewer watching and going, but wait a minute. You know what I mean?
And by the way, the whole thing, let's bring up the Cad Bane thing for a second. What was Cad Bane's strategy in letting Boba Fett know that it was the Pikes who killed the things? Like,
this bothered me
wait,
so
killed them.
much.
So what? You're just trying to get him to fire?
Yeah.
Oh, I know how to draw him out. All you had to do is show up. He says, came out to talk to you. So there, he's out.
Yeah.
First of all, what was the whole point of that? I'm not really sure.
Is Cad Bane dead? I want Cad. That was so.
It seemed definitive that he was dead.
It's so ridiculous. Why would you get rid of a character that's that great?
Exactly.
What you should have done is it would have been, if I had made this show, Boba Fett and Cad Bane would have been in on this from the very beginning, and they would have had something where Boba Fett would have said, I paid him more. And boom, he helps kill the Pikes. It was all a big ruse. But no.
Where did that stick come from, by the way?
Oh, that from the Tuskens. They showed that.
No, I
earlier in the
know
series.
that, but where on his body?
Nature's pocket.
I mean,
I don't remember seeing it as he walked out.
That
I'll have to go-
was
I'll have to go back and
the
watch
second
that.
that he pulled it out, I was like, oh, awesome, Tusken Raider callback. But then I'm like, where was
I'm going to have to
that?
go
'Cause
back and
that's
watch that again.
Not a collapsible stick.
I'm going to disagree with you about the Cad Bane thing, though. I think it would have been a cheap cop-out to just have both of them just walk away okay. I think it had to come back down to the two of them, because listen, as much as I have complained about they made this not a Boba Fett show and blah, 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 to have it come down, I think it would have been even worse if it didn't come down to him and Cad Bane. And I think it said something about the character Boba Fett. I think he had to kill Cad Bane. I really do. I think he had to definitively kill the guy in a brutal way, and he did. Now, I get there's a lot of Cad Bane fans that just won't like the fact that they killed Cad Bane, but I thought that was the right thing for them to do for the story, even if they did a lot of bad story decisions in the rest of it.
I just thought the villains were so unmemorable and
They're terrible.
And
They're terrible
stupid.
through the show.
And I still don't understand, why did Boba Fett care? He's got a palace. He's like, you come to me. If they needed to do something, he just flies in and kills whoever he needs to. Like, why are they fighting? It was so ridiculous. I'm like, he has all the forces. He's got his fire spray ship. He's got a palace. He's got Helm's Deep out there. He can roll into town whenever he wants quietly in the cover of night and kill whoever he needs to kill and take over.
I agree with this, because when Cad Bane does I'm trying to figure out what's your angle, I was like, same, bro.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this?
Because when he shows up in the show and he has that conversation with Fennec in the desert about why he wants to come back, because I'm tired of working for idiots.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing in any of that in the opening 4 episodes or anything was about, I have had a revelation that we should take care of each other, that we should protect people. That has never been, even in this show, a part of his core motivations whatsoever. But then when it comes down to at the end, it's like, I am defending, these are my people. You never once hinted that was part of your motivation.
The people from Mos Espa, he should blame all of them for the death of the Tuskens. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Everybody there, it's the game. And
can I bring up one other big plot hole here in this whole idea? Mm-hmm. The Kites want to run spice. Mm-hmm. The problem they're having with the sheriff is that he won't let the spice go through their territory. This is Star Wars, right?
Right.
They have spaceships, right? At very least, propulsed planes.
Just go over.
You don't have anything you just fly over? You needed a space train? Why was this a problem? This is Star Wars.
Why we saw the Pikes making some spice deal like out next to a moisture evaporator in the middle of the sand. Why are you there? Why
Yeah.
you could meet anywhere else? You could go to you could book a back room in Jennifer Beals strip club and be like, "Hey, do you mind if we use one of your back rooms to do our coke deal?
Yeah.
Here it
She's
is."
like, that's what they're there for.
I mean, come on. It's
That's
like,
why we have a back room. Well, in this last episode too was just like we have to keep the spice flowing, basically. And is that why the Pikes didn't like Boba Fett? The thing we learned in the finale of him being like, I guess we're going to stop the spice trade. Like, I don't.
who's stopping what
I
spice
don't-
trade?
But that's another thing
The
is that
sheriff. He's
but also,
not
if you
there.
take down the head drug dealer, the drugs don't go away. Someone else, there's always a power vacuum,
Right.
And someone else is just going to come in and go, "Oh wow, spice is really addictive. People like this stuff, and they're willing to pay a lot of money for it. I guess I'm going to start trading."
Yeah.
Next season, Boba Fett is going to be the one who's stealing the spice.
See, I get it. In this world, like all I remember is like watching Fennec when she gets on the speeder bike and she tears away. I'm like, that's how fast a speeder's supposed to be, not the Mos Espa Vespas. Beep beep, and we're coming through. But I guess I get it. In a world,
They do go really slow.
yes, in a universe where Hutts don't get in a car, they're walked through the desert to wherever they're going. I guess in that reality, yeah, having to go around the sheriff's territory might be inconvenience.
Cobb Vanth walks. He doesn't have a
Everyone does.
Everyone walks.
He walked
Everyone
over.
walks.
You guys are doing a drug. The only people, as far as the eye can see, are these 4 Pikes and their speeder bike unloading here. Here's my box of spice. That's the one place where they're in walking distance of the sheriff?
Well, not only that, he appears out of nowhere because when they show him, there's nothing behind him. No city, no building, no watchtower. How did they not see him walking up? I mean, and all they had to do was go around and go, "There's someone walking towards us while we're trying to deal
Quick,
drugs."
let's hide the spice.
Or, hey, let's just shoot him, because clearly that's what they were going to do anyway.
It's like, oh no, there's one guy with a gun in this desert. We can't run our spice through it. All right,
We're
jump
on a
in a
whole
plane.
planet. There's an entire planet. Why don't we go to the poles? There were no one. We'll go to the north or south pole of Tatooine, and we'll go sell our wares there. No one's got a city.
Clearly,
Well, okay.
no drug salesmen were consulted on this. Get
No.
some drug dealers
No,
up in
excuse
here so we
me.
learn
Come
how
on
to
to the
do
kids.
Danny Trejo, who well-known former gang member, was in this. Why do they not consult him? He probably
could have given them a
They
lot.
probably.
It's like, we didn't used to put our drugs in boxes. We had little bindles made out of magazine.
I mean, he is.
Pieces of
He has been
pages.
very open about his past. He would have been a perfect person to go, "Hey, Danny, so does this make sense for like a whole crime thing?" With
Well,
the whole-
by the way, some people in the live chat are asking, where was Obi-Wan? You got to get your timeline straight. Obi-Wan had long been dead.
he did.
Yeah, he did. That's not. So look, I still, with all the issues I have, I thought there was enough cool stuff that this was one of the stronger, although this isn't saying much, I acknowledge. It was one of the stronger episodes of Book of Boba Fett. Other than the episodes 5 and 6, this was the best episode. Other than episodes 5 and 6. Again, that's not saying much. I thought the Godfather-ishness of it was cool, but still, there's a lot of very frustrating decisions they made with it that it leaves it to me that I'm just ultimately going to look back on the Book of Boba Fett and just kind of go, I kind of wish they didn't make that show. I kind of wish they just skipped it and went right to Mandalorian season 3. And with Boba Fett, because Boba Fett was a great character in Mandalorian season 2.
Absolutely.
So just pick him back up in Mandalorian season 3. I'm sure we're going to see Boba Fett joining Mandalorian and trying to retake Mandalore now, especially since he basically said, we're not cut out to lead Tatooine. Okay, so you're going to go off of them, whatever. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think of, number one, the finale of the Book of Boba Fett, but also where did that leave you overall on your thoughts on the show? Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, we said we were going to go over and take your live questions, and that's what we're going to do. If I can find where we're supposed to be on them, give me a second. Because we had to turn off the super chats about 10 minutes into the show.
Start with K Major.
Because, there was a lot. Anyway, let's pick things up here, shall we? Aaron. Sorry, not Aaron. My bad.
Oh.
Sorry.
I wore my glasses tonight.
Oh, do you want to read something? I'll share.
No, it's fine.
Go ahead, Chris.
All right. K Major, who we lost his question yesterday. So thank you so much for submitting again. I appreciate you. K Major, well, it was a finale.
It was a finale. He's absolutely right
Of
about
my
that.
love of Star Wars.
By the way, I should mention this. Somebody brought up to me that one of our great viewers and supporters, Angela Dashner, sent in $100 super chat yesterday, and it disappeared off of the Stream Elements chat list. So we never called out Angela for that yesterday. And she's done that several times.
Oh my God.
She has sent in like massive tips to support our channel. And she sent one in yesterday. I had a bunch of our viewers tell me that afterwards. And that and I went through the log and it wasn't there. So to Angela, thank you for that yesterday. And we're sorry that some reason it got lost in the mix, but thank you for sending that in.
Do we know what she asked or said?
Nope, no idea, unfortunately. Okay, what's next?
All right, Anish, Bong Joon-ho has been mentioned many times on the show. Curious, have you guys seen Okja?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I really it's got Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
The one with Jake Gyllenhaal and the giant dog.
What is that?
It's a movie about a pig.
But it was on Amazon, Netflix?
It was on Netflix.
Netflix.
And what's
was
it
Netflix.
called?
Okja.
Okja.
Okja. Yeah, one word. Okja. If you
I
have not
liked
seen it, you should go and check it out. All right, what's next?
Raymond Verada. Ever wonder why Star Wars fans are such men children? Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Luke, single till they die. Jimmy Skywalker and the Solos, evil Force children.
Well, of course, there's you can't have attachments if you're a Jedi. You got to separate yourself. That's why Luke gave Baby Yoda the boot. So get out of here, infant child, for not making the mature adult decision.
White Fang your dad.
Get out of here. Yeah, that's true. All right,
But I
what's
love
next?
whenever he came back and he goes, Yoda.
Oh, listen, I'll tell you what, though. It doesn't matter what's going on. Every time Baby Yoda's on screen, it's freaking precious. It's absolutely adorable.
And he's got a little like swagger when he walks. I mean, I know he's kind of like trying to get those little feet along, but he's kind of got a little,
He's got a little
bit of-
swag to him there. He's got a little
like,
Snoop
okay.
Dogg in his walk now.
Okay.
Just a little bit. It's like, hey, I just figured out I'm super powerful. All right, it's next.
Sam Fisher. By the end, I was like, this is awesome. And By the end, I was less like, this is awesome. And more like, that was cool, I guess.
Yeah, and I think for me there was enough. That was cool, I guess. That I went okay. I thought it was fairly strong compared to the other ones, but just so many questionable decisions.
Logan had a really cute response to the episode where he's like, there was enough cool stuff for me because this is exactly what I did with my action figures as a kid. Like that all played out on screen for me and that was enough.
Yeah, but see, that's not a very good thing when you're trying to make.
Well, and you and
Movies
I
and
were
TV.
expecting Boba Fett to walk on water. We both wanted like this to
What I
change our
wanted
lives.
what I wanted to see was an interesting examination of things I've seen in other crime thrillers. I mean, if they're going to play these tropes, don't play them as if a 4-year-old needs to figure out. Even a 4-year-old, my 4-year-old self would have been like, "Yo, why are you standing in the middle of the street if you're outgunned and outnumbered? Don't stand there."
Our chat brought this up. Why is Kirk throwing punches with people if he's got a laser?
Well, he doesn't always have a laser.
No.
Kirk is not always equipped with a phaser.
There you
And
go,
Kirk
chat.
doesn't always do the smart thing. All right,
Yes,
what's
he does.
next?
All right, next we have another. Ooh, sorry, I lost my.
I lost my
here.
place too here.
Yeah.
Where were we? Okay, there we go. No, that's not it.
I love the whataboutism.
The-
You don't like Star Wars, so let's insult Star Trek.
All right,
I just wanted to bring it up in the chat.
Shit,
All
this thing
right.
keeps jumping around.
I know. Stream Elements is being kind of funky today, y'all. Sorry. Casey Mack, with the Super Bowl coming up and TV shows getting spots, I really wouldn't be surprised if we get a new trailer and release date for Stranger Things Season 4 on Sunday.
I don't. I mean, would Netflix do that?
They might.
Maybe. I mean, look, it
For
is
$5
one of the most
million?
hotly anticipated shows. Is this season 4? So it's a possibility. I could see that. Okay, and sorry,
Why does it keep moving?
Stream Elements is jumping all over the place, guys. Sorry about this.
Anish? Besides Dune, my favorite effects was from Suicide Squad, Green Knight, and Eternals. I thought all three movies had better effects than Shang-Chi and Spider-Man.
I disagree.
Same.
I honestly thought the visual effects in Shang-Chi were wonderful. I thought they were absolutely terrific. I don't think it should win. I thought obviously the effects in Eternals were good. The effects in Suicide Squad were good. So was Green Knight, but I still believe that Shang-Chi was better. All right, what's next?
Andy, part 1 of 2 here. I've always had a powerful, personal, and profound connection to my favorite character, Batman. Having a Batman film release on my birthday weekend is
I think he sent this.
He sent this yesterday too. Yeah, because we know that your birthday is close to yours, right?
Yes.
2 of 2. A blessing by having an early fan premiere on the film of my birthday, March 1st, is immaculate. Got tickets and my excitement, and it is indescribable.
Again, we talked yesterday about the fact that we got our tickets for the special advanced March 1st screening.
Dude, I'm so excited.
Of Batman. So very excited. And of course, Aaron, you're invited to come and join us. We have one ticket left.
Oh,
so
I might have to send my resident nerd boy in my place.
well, no.
Oh, no, I'll go.
Because it would be for the show.
Oh, okay. It's a job thing.
Unless Tom wants to be on the show, then that would be okay too.
Okay.
But again, if you have to wait to see it with Tom, then I can.
No, I don't. No,
go. All right. Good.
I'm allowed to
We're-
do things on my own.
It'll
Every
be
once in a
all
while,
of
he
us
lets
there
me out of my
once.
cage.
All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher, I have expected Bane to say, search your feelings.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true. All right, what's next?
John Wadkin, knowing James Gunn, I don't think all of Team Peacemaker will make it past. Oh gosh, why is this moving? Make it past the finale. Hearts will be broken with the loss of either Eagly or Vigilante. No, not Eagly.
Take out Vigilante, but
Yeah.
not Eagly.
My God, what they did with Eagly in the last episode was so good. It's like, Eagly's a murderer. Love it. No, I definitely there's whether it's economists or whether it's
Wait, who did Eagly kill in the last episode?
a couple of the
bunch of
police
cops.
officers.
Oh, right. Okay, yes.
Kind of peck their eyes out and
Oh,
rip
yeah,
their
yeah.
eyes
That
out.
was awesome.
Woo! But I think they're going to be people who die. My Eagly, if you want to talk about emotional impact for our main character, killing Eagly will have the most
Would.
emotional impact on
That
Peacemaker.
Won't
his best
happen. The
friend.
wrath of PETA will be upon them.
Yeah.
Even for a
Terrible.
fictitious
A CGI
people.
bird?
It doesn't matter. Wait,
I don't know.
That's not CGI.
It is CGI.
It's CGI and
No,
it's voiced by D. Bradley
I'll never
Baker.
believe it. I'll never believe it.
looks
That's a
damn
real
real,
eagle.
though.
That is a real trained
Very
eagle.
well-trained eagle. But even Vigilante, I think killing Vigilante won't even have the same emotional impact on.
No, I don't
can't
think that they'll
kill
kill
Vigilante.
Vigilante.
How
No, I
can they
know.
tell them apart, though?
That's right.
He's the
Which one's
comedic
me? Which
relief.
one's
I
Eagle?
love that
God, I
guy.
love Vigilante so much. That scene with him in prison with Peacemaker's dad is like one of my favorite scenes of television the
Oh,
last
yeah.
year.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so great. All right, what's next?
John Redcorn. Overall, I thought the show as a whole was extremely mid. I don't need a season 2. There's so many other shows you can do other than Boba.
I agree. There's no point in going back to this thing. Plus, it looks to me like there's no plans to. It looks like the future Boba Fett is going to be in Mandalorian season 3. And let's just hope they do better with it there. All right, what's next?
Al Rensha. The moment I saw that cat in Lightyear, my wallet started hurting. I already know I probably will get a plush toy, pillow, and maybe even a Funko.
Hey, listen, I understand. You're a cat person. You were born with that deficiency.
Hey,
That's
hey,
fine.
Come on
hey,
now.
them's fighting words. Not okay.
I'm not saying the cats are the devil.
They're not.
I am saying no, I am. They're the devil. The cats are the devil.
There's
I grew up
something
with the
really
cat.
wrong with someone who doesn't appreciate a soft, cuddly, meowy little creature that just wants to like lay around and purr all day.
I just don't have the self-esteem to be a cat person. I need something to like me.
Yeah.
What do you mean like you? My cat,
No.
my little 3-legged toothless cat with no ears, Joe Louis, he'll like hobble over to me and he'll lay down like on his stump and he'll take his other paw and like put it around my neck and he'll just purr.
I can't remember if it was Garfield. It might have been Garfield, but there's a comic strip that so perfectly epitomizes cats. I love it. And it's somebody asked Garfield once, what does meow mean? He said, meow is our secret code for each other. It means humans are stupid. We make them serve us. And it's like, yeah, there you go.
That makes sense.
That's
It is
cats.
actually a fact that cats trained themselves to mimic the sound of a crying baby so that they would be given, could manipulate people into giving them milk.
But see, I have no problem with that.
I don't have a problem with it either. I love it.
I appreciate that about cats.
I actually,
I
we
hate
will
cats.
hear my cat on the baby monitor, and I have to stop and go, wait, is that Sammy or is that my human child?
But my
Which one's
first pet was a cat. My first pet was a cat that I named Luke Skywalker.
And did he hurt you? Is that why you're like this?
And then my family
Did he
had a
hurt you?
cat. My family had a cat, Sarah, for many, many years. But yeah, I'm just not cappers. Anyway, we got to keep rolling here. What's next?
Cutter Hale, Movie Club was awesome. Thanks for an awesome new show. Any chance of a movie club on School of Rock or Man from U.N.C.L.E.? School of Rock is my favorite movie of all time. It made me realize my love for film.
We had so much fun doing Movie Club yesterday.
That was really good.
I really liked doing that. That was a lot of fun. Look, we're going to do a lot of movies. I don't know if I ever would feel the inclination to do School of Rock. I like
School of Rock is pretty good though.
I like. You know
love
what the
that
problem is?
movie.
I saw the live stage show and it was awful, and it kind of soured my enjoyment of the movie a little bit. Which is unfortunate. So I don't know. Listen, hopefully we're gonna do a lot of these things. We're gonna do one a week, as long as you guys like watching them. And the next one is gonna be, here's your viewing assignment, Iron Man 1. So that's gonna be the next installment. The next meeting of Movie Club next Tuesday is gonna be Iron Man 1. So make sure you guys get caught up on that. All right, what's next?
Pure Astros felt like CW Star Wars. So disappointing.
It's not wrong.
I mean,
You're not wrong. And there's some CW stuff I like. That's why there's some stuff in this I like. But you're right. It felt like CW Star Wars.
if they let us know all the Vespa folks are like, these people are just 15, then it'd totally be CW.
Oh my God, the Vespa folks are going to get a CW spinoff.
Oh my God, they probably will.
By the way, I have been, because of you guys, I started unfortunately watching Yellow Jackets yesterday, and so now I have no life and my child will starve.
How freaky is Christina Ricci in that show?
Okay. I grew up watching Christina Ricci and Juliette Lewis. I mean, I literally we're the same age, so I grew up with them. Mermaids and Addams Family and Natural Born Killers was my favorite movie when I was in high school, and so I am obsessed with seeing Juliette Lewis and Christina Ricci working together. I wish I could just be a fly on the wall for those scenes. But Sophie Thatcher, who plays the young Juliette Lewis in Yellow Jackets, she's the Vespa girl.
No.
Yes.
Is she?
Yes, she is. And
I had no idea. I didn't put those
So I
together.
was watching Yellow Jackets, 4 episodes. Thanks, you guys. Watched 4 episodes, and then I went and watched Boba Fett this morning, or 1 a.m. or midnight, and I went, "Oh my God, that's the same girl." So I'm calling it now. Sophie Thatcher is about to be a huge star because she's everywhere.
Not because of Boba Fett.
but just her mere presence. I'm calling it
All
right
right.
now.
She was actually, her line deliveries in this final episode
she's
was
a
good.
actress.
She was good.
I did not think so.
Oh,
I love her in Yellow Jackets.
Right, but I felt the same thing about Ming-Na Wen.
Ming-Na Wen?
Yeah. In the beginning of Boba Fett, I was like, she's terrible in this. By the end of the season, I was like, oh, she's really good in this. But the first episode, I think that sometimes a lot of it depends on the writing, a lot of it depends on the directing and the editing.
They didn't.
All right,
give her-
I got a story. I got to cut us off.
Yeah, okay.
We've
Okay,
only got
what's
a little bit left. We've got a lot of questions to get through. Okay, what's next?
Andy, fun fact, the Batman first premiered tickets were ready for sale yesterday, which would have been Batman co-creator Bill Finger's 108th birthday.
Wow. That's
Okay,
cool.
sorry. Where were we?
We
Was
were
that
at-
Andy's fun fact?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. I got lost there for a second. Oh, I didn't realize that would have been his 108th.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God, that's amazing. All right, thanks a lot for sharing that, Andy. All right, what's next?
Kevin Cow, episode 7 started slow, battle scale felt small, but second half, I enjoyed it much more, especially when Boba killed Cad Bane. Too bad no Luke or Han cameo.
Listen, I am personally happy there was no Luke or Han cameo.
Me too.
It just would have added to how much of a mess it was kind of feeling like. And I know you feel differently than I do on this. I like the final confrontation between, I thought it was the best part of the episode between Boba Fett and Cad Bane. And I like the fact that Boba Fett killed him and kind of redeemed his character a little bit from kind of the lacklusterness. But they should have set that up more throughout the series. That there's
They
a
have a
history between
relationship.
these
There's-
two.
yeah, there's
They
history.
should have set it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
But still, I like that final fight. All right, what's next?
Out of time, 1985. John, seen you all been talking Funko Pops on here. I've been collecting since 2014 and now have 755 Pops. Where do you sleep? Most recent Pop was Blue from Blue's Clues.
Oh my God. Yeah. I am a little bit more limited from just getting pops of things I really like. Like for instance, I love this Thanos. I love this Thanos so much. I've got this one. I keep this one out. Most of my, and of course, I've got to have my Tom Brady's. Got to have my Tom Brady's. But I don't collect. I only collect pops of things that I like. I don't just collect pops for the sake of pops. Man, 755. That is a good collection, man. All right, what's next?
Suthius, last week I asked if Cobb be modded up. Well,
Yeah. So what you missed in that post-credit scene. So that horrible scene where Boba Fett takes Fennec to become the $6 million woman, it ends with just seeing Cobb Vanth in the back to tank and that guy, that surgeon, getting his tools out. So obviously they're going to turn him into a cyborg.
Awesome.
At some point. Awesome. All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher. I'd have been pissed if Black K went out like a chump.
Yeah, well, listen, I would have been. I didn't want to see him die when the Trandoshans jumped on him. I didn't want to see that, but I would have been okay if he didn't show back up. But I loved it when he came back around. Is like throwing fools around. It's like you needed more of that. We needed more of that with Black Chrysanthemum. All right, what's next?
Anish, some of my fave movies that never got an Oscar nomination: Ex Machina, Nightcrawler, The Farewell, The Lighthouse, 8th Grade. Are all these movies worse than Don't Look Up or Bohemian Rhapsody?
See, look, it's folly to try to go, movie from this year didn't get, but movie from this year did. Are you saying there's no point in that discussion, like whatsoever? Listen, there are 10 nominees, right? Okay, one of them got it that we didn't think it should. Okay, but it is what it is. There are people voting on it who are not you and me, and every year that means there are going to be nominees that did. It's not that, the world of Hollywood is saying this movie's better than that movie. Look, it is hard to get an Academy Award nomination. It's really hard. In the Best Actor category, there are 5 spots for 700 possibly eligible performances that year. That means every year you are going to get fantastic performances that don't get nominated. It's not a participation award. You did great this year. Here's an Academy Award. Or here's a nomination. There's limited spots for it. And that means every year there are going to be films that are fantastic that don't get nominated. There are players in sports every year who have career seasons, but they didn't win MVP. So it's really kind of pointless to have to even get into it or think that way, Anish.
A lot of these films did get Oscar nominations, just not Best Picture nominations. I mean, Ex Machina got stuff for effects. We have The Lighthouse.
Won for effects.
It won for effects?
Yep.
The Lighthouse had acting nominations. 8th Grade, I believe, had an acting nomination.
Yeah, Nightcrawler. I mean, the reason everybody thinks about Nightcrawler is because, that is Jake Gyllenhaal gave a career-defining performance.
Incredible.
In that. And he did. But I remember that year. And I remember we did an episode of Movie Talk and we were looking at that and going, but who would we have bumped off the list? Because that was a really packed year but that's when everybody thinks about. Okay, what's next?
Rafael Castillo. Nice finale, but didn't blow my socks off. A tad underwhelming. I didn't need that King Kong homage. I
kind of liked it.
When Grogu jumped up and hugged Mando, my heart exploded. Might we see the Marshall show?
Possibly that could be. Obviously he's the one who's going to take over Tatooine there. But when Grogu and Mando reunite, the camera cuts to an over the shoulder of Mando down looking at Baby Yoda's face. The happiness and smile on that damn puppet's face was heart melting. That was a really nice moment. I did dig that a lot. They made him look really happy and that made me feel good. Again, though, I kind of wish the show just wasn't made. I really do. And again, while I didn't feel it watching the show, I get the criticism that some people have been leveling. I didn't ask all you guys what you thought about that. That some people are out there saying that whole thing about him just ditching Luke just like that kind of completely undermined the end of Mandalorian season 2 when Luke shows up to take him away. So I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
I don't think it undermines it, but I do wish we could have seen that play out a bit longer than just like, here's a shirt or a sword, baby, make a decision. Which we talked about this a little bit. I feel like when you give a toddler that decision, as
Would
a
you
mother,
like
Aaron,
one
yeah,
M&M or would you like
keys.
2 M&Ms? Yeah, I would take the chainmail that was like shiny, and he's like, I can wear this.
Yeah.
and I
wanted
can wear it
daddy.
under my dress.
And I
So-
love
Of course a
my
baby's
dad.
going to want their daddy figure.
Of
Of course a baby's
I thought
gonna
it was a
want
bit of a harsh thing to be like, you have to choose. Like, how about, go off and enjoy yourself and then come back like they do in the Mormon land. Go enjoy yourself and then
I
come
wanted
back.
him to have a Rumspringa.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
wanted him to have like a little Amish Jedi getaway.
All right, let's keep going here. What's next?
Oh, that's what I meant. Amish, not Mormon.
Andy. Oh, wait, no. Al Renshaw. Campea Burnett for Disney CEO.
I think we could. Who are we kidding? We would run that place into the ground within a month.
No, because we'd hire people that knew their jobs,
Well, yes.
and we would delegate, and we would have conversations with the people around us and figure out what is the best course of action.
Here's the main thing. We would put creative people in charge. That's the big difference we would have.
But we'd also make sure they had proper oversight.
Yes,
so they didn't,
absolutely.
And that would be where we'd come in.
All right, what's next?
It'd work, John.
Andy, have you seen the Netflix documentary The Tinder Swindler that was recently released?
Oh, I saw.
It's horrifying to see how one douchebag could run a Liam Neeson's film. Oh, wait, no, that's not the second part of Andy's. I don't know where the other part of
I
Andy's
can't find
is.
his part 2. Okay, if we come across it, we come across
I
it.
watched it.
I haven't seen it, but I want to. Should I?
All I want to know is where can I find a woman that I can convince to get an American Express Platinum card and advance me hundreds of thousands of
Okay,
dollars?
let me tell you guys this. I've never even heard of this until yesterday when Ray brought it up. I don't know what I can and can't reveal on air, but let's just say that something directly connected with the Tinder Swindler
The
and its production and its thing reached out to me this morning about something. And it's funny because up until yesterday, I never
Don't
even
send
heard
them
of this
any
thing.
money.
I am not going to send them any money or credit cards.
Look, what I do in my
up
spare
to-
time is my business, okay?
I had never even heard of this. And then all of a sudden, all this is happening. Now you guys are talking about it. And you guys watch this?
I haven't seen it, but I saw that it's on there. I was like, oh, that's on my list. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
I watched it.
Or did you look at it as a possible career choice?
I mean, hey, you got to make money somehow, and OnlyFans isn't doing it.
Did you watch it?
I haven't. My friend mentioned it, and I thought it was something that happened to her, and I was like, "Oh my god, what's
It's
going on?" on the
actually
internet?
pretty well done. They do a pretty good job of.
I've heard good
of-
things.
It's just
in
that I just
24
kept
hours.
thinking. I got to say that guy. I just admire his gumption. I don't know how he had to work really hard to get all that, and I'm wondering. I have clearly did not do. I made bad choices in life.
All right, what's next?
All right, Kevin Cow, finally using the bikes and ships to get around.
Yeah, at a very, very slow pace. But the Rancor can get there in lick and split 5 seconds. All right, what's next?
Angel Silva, I guess I got skipped. I'm so sorry about that. Stream Elements has been so weird, Angel. Got my tickets to see Batman in IMAX, taking my brother as a surprise. We watched the animated series nonstop growing up. Oh, so good.
I mean, look, I haven't felt this much excitement about a Batman thing. Look, I'll tell you what. I am feeling more excitement right now for this Batman than I did going into Batman versus Superman. And I really like Batman versus Superman. But I mean, like in the build up to it, I'm actually feeling more hyped for this thing than ever. And I cannot wait for March 1st for all
I
us to
know.
go see it. It's going to be a good time. All right, what's next?
Andy, Liam Neeson's
The Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson's film Blacklight is being released this weekend. Damn it, who's messing with his family again?
It's the exact same movie that he has put out for the last 9 movies. It's all the same. And it's working for him. He's collecting them checks.
Did you read he's up to play the lead in the reboot of The Naked Gun?
Is that real?
That's genius if that's real.
I read it this morning.
Yeah.
And he said his quote was, "This could be the end of my career." And I'm like,
Or the beginning
I
of a
think
new
it's gonna
one.
be great.
Or the beginning of a new one.
I read this and I'm
Leslie
like-
Nielsen's career completely took a different trajectory.
And it's somebody big who's doing it. I don't want to say it's Seth. Is it Seth
MacFarlane.
MacFarlane? Yeah, it's Seth
Who
MacFarlane.
he did A Million Ways to Die in the West with.
I'm like, that sign me up.
Have you guys seen the Ricky Gervais thing? No, sorry, not Ricky Gervais. Warwick Davis. It might have been Ricky Gervais.
Yeah,
as well.
Warwick Davis with the
Ricky and Stephen Marchand, I think. Where have you seen this?
Extras?
I can't remember if it was Extras or what show it was, but basically they're the Hollywood types, and Liam Neeson comes in, and he's Liam Neeson, and Warwick Davis plays Warwick Davis, and I can't remember what the name of the show was. And they're like, Liam Neeson says he wants to do comedy. I'm told I'm very funny. I'm like, okay. I think it was Stephen Marchand says, okay, let's play this out a little bit. Let's do a little bit of improv here. Okay, let's say yours. I can't remember exactly how it goes. It was everybody in the live chat saying it's Extras. So he's like, okay,
yeah.
let's play. I'm a grocery store attendant or whatever, and you come in. And Liam Neeson comes over. All right. Hello, I have cancer. Well, cancer's not. See, Liam, cancer's not really funny. But I'm just explaining. No, I know, but it's not really funny. We don't lead with that. All right. Hello, sir. How are you doing today? Hello. I have AIDS. And it's like, and he's doing it all with this like completely dead, serious, straight face. And listen, A Million Ways to Die in the West isn't great, I got a kick out of it. It's not great, but Liam Neeson playing
Frank Drebin.
Yeah.
him playing that would be brilliant.
And his only stipulation too was because Seth MacFarlane's made fun of his Irish accent.
Oh, yeah.
So he was
Yeah,
like,
oh,
I get
big
to
time.
play it with a broad, horrible, ridiculous Irish accent.
All right, what's next?
Out of time, 1985 again. John, when picking a movie for Movie Club, what are the qualifications that the movie must meet? Also, any films you or the team are hoping to do one for?
Really, there's not a lot of criteria.
The English Patient.
I don't think I love the English Patient.
I love it too, but I would not
Ralph
not
Fiennes.
say we should do that.
I think it's got to be a movie that I think number one has been a popular movie that we love,
Yeah.
because no point in doing it on a movie that no one's heard of or most people haven't watched, and because they're talking about it in depth. So, but we're going to kind of just work our way through it and see what movies kind of qualify or not. But I like the way we started. And by
And
the
if
way, we're
people
taking
want to
recommendations.
suggest movies too.
Yep, we're taking recommendations. All right, what's next?
Al Renshaw again. If we get Boba season 2, how would you feel about them bringing in Mace Windu? I would love to see it.
No, I have never wanted to see Mace Windu back. He died. That was definitive. Look, Star Wars has done a couple, like with the Emperor. They've done some Star Wars fake death universe.
Darth Maul.
They did with Darth Maul multiple times. There's no need to do it with Mace Windu. I mean, Mace Windu is a great character. It's not that I don't think the character isn't fantastic, but he had a climactic end. Let it be. I would just say leave it alone. That's my take at any rate. All right, what's next?
Cutter Hale. Licorice Pizza is finally playing at a theater close to me.
Nice.
I'm seeing it, Marry Me, and Jackass Friday. And then Death of the Nile Saturday. Your Friday's going to be weird, man.
This may surprise you. I'm not planning on watching Marry Me. I know that might shock you, but I'm not planning on
Dude, it's
watching
the new Moonfall.
I am going to go watch Death on the Nile this weekend,
Yeah.
though.
Who's Anne going to see Marry Me with then?
Well, I might have to take it back because I think Ann wants to
I
see
was
it. And
gonna
she's
say.
pleased and I got to go. So maybe I'll be seeing Marry Me this weekend, too. But have a good time watching Licorice Pizza. Again, I wouldn't have personally nominated for Best Picture, but I did like it. And I think you're going to probably like it, too. All right, what's next?
Soothius again. Black Chrysanthemum did something cool that I would love to see more of in movies and shows. He threw an adversary and then shot him midair. Oh, it shouldn't be Chrysanthemum.
It's like, who's Black Chrysanthemum?
I was like, what character is this?
I'd watch that show.
Yes. But no, they did some pretty cool things in their action. I mean, some of it was like, okay, the reinforcements arrive, and their plan was just to park the car and hide behind it. Okay, but some of the things done in the action I thought was pretty cool. Like some of the things the Rancor did I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that the two Mandalorians did was pretty cool. There were some pretty fun shots. All right, what's next?
Cara Black. I just got my tickets for an advanced IMAX screening of The Batman on March 1st last night.
Nice.
I am so excited, and I finally get to see a movie before you do, John. Haha, lol.
Nope, we'll be there on March 1st as well. And if there's a press screening before it that isn't
It depends
too,
what time zone they're in.
Yeah, it depends on the time zone, so maybe you will. But also, then if there's a press screening and before that, but we'll have to see. But look, the important thing here, Kara, is that you got tickets for it. And that's awesome, and we're all going to have a great time that night. Glad you got them, Kara. All right, what's next?
Jace, a short film starring Riz Ahmed called The Long Goodbye was nominated for Best Short, but it was released in 2020. In what world is that possible?
Oh, listen, I'm not going to pretend that I know or understand in the least what the short film rules are. I have no idea. Look, I know it's bad for me to say, everybody will hate that I'm saying this. I don't really pay attention to the short categories, whether animation, short documentary, short live action. I honestly don't pay much attention to them, and I don't know what the specific rules are, so I don't. Do any of you guys have some insight on that?
It probably has to do where it plays or for how long. Like it has to be at a festival that's accredited with the Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So if it shows in an Academy approved venue or something,
Within the right year.
or a festival that's
Okay. Yeah, but again, honestly, I don't know. It's a good question.
And I think
though,
also
Jace.
during the pandemic, some of the rules, there was a little bit of a
Were
sliding
shifted?
scale
Yeah.
of like when things were, quote, released and when they were in theaters. Anything in 2020 to 2022 is sort of a wash.
It was a mulligan
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, what's next?
Cole Reed, I'm 20 and just watched Star Wars episodes 1 through 9. Can't say I enjoyed myself at all. Nothing Palpatine does makes any sense, yet he's the villain the whole time? Why do people like these movies?
You know what? That's first of all, your first mistake was watching episodes 1 through 3.
Yeah.
That was your first mistake. But listen, you'd be surprised how many times I get emails from people saying, I got around to watching The Godfather. What's the big deal about it? And they're pretty much acknowledging me maybe the greatest films. But that's the thing about we are all individual and we all have our own individual sensibilities and things that strike us one way or strike us another. And listen, Star Wars is the greatest franchise ever, but that doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone. It doesn't mean you're wrong if you don't like it. If it didn't work for you, man, it didn't work for you. So, hey, at least you gave it a try and good on you for that, man. All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher. I like the twist of the Pikes being the ones to take out the Tuskens and not the Niktos, but Boba's reaction had zero emotional weight.
I think what they're going to excuse that with is when Cad Bane says to him, you know it's true. Because I think he probably did know it. Again, you took out their train. You had to suspect there was going to be some swindling backstabbing there.
Reprisals,
and then the fact that he didn't even realize that the other families are going to betray him, even though he says himself, oh yeah, the smart move for them was to align themselves with the Pikes. And yet you never consider that a possibility or built in any contingencies in case they backstab you. Again, they made Boba Fett out to be not that terribly bright. And again, to me, the biggest example of that, about just making him out to be terribly smart, it's a little thing, but it really represents it. Number one, Boba Fett, you crawled out of the Sarlacc pit in your Mandalorian armor. Why the fuck do you think it's in the thing's belly? Why are you looking in there for it? But number two, you know the Sarlacc has these giant tentacles that it reaches out and grabs things with employment. Why are you flying your ship right over the mouth? Like, everybody at home is watching that going, what are you doing? What are you doing? We all knew that the tentacles are going to come out, grab it like good old Japanese porn, and pull it down towards itself and end it right there. We all knew it. Everybody knew it, except for maybe Boba Fett. He's the only one who didn't figure it out. And it's like,
Don't
they
Google
just
it.
constantly made it out to be like he wasn't that
Google
smart.
hentai.
Don't
Anyway.
do it, Aaron.
Yeah, go look it up, Aaron. You'll see what we're talking about.
You're not old enough.
No, I'm not.
You're not old enough.
No, I'm
All right.
not.
What's next?
Bible Black. Watch some of that.
J Master. John, Disney live streamed the Oscar nominations on Disney Plus. A Disney told The Verge that Disney were very pleased with the live stream results. What does it mean for live events on Disney Plus, D23, and Star Wars Celebration?
Yeah, I didn't know they were doing it until after it was already done. That I saw, they actually used it. They live streamed on, that was the first time they've ever live streamed something on Disney Plus. I would hope that it would mean that they would broadcast D23.
And Star Wars Celebration.
And Star Wars Celebration, and maybe their Hall H panel at Comic-Con or whatever. I would love it. I don't think they're going to do it because they don't want people watching Star Wars Celebration. They want people flying across the country, buying the tickets and attending. But it would be great if they did. I think that would be absolutely awesome. By the way, did we
with
get
that, Rob?
What? That they wouldn't?
That Comic-Con Hall H should be live streamed.
Oh yeah, I think I
Really? You two hypocrites.
What are you talking
When
about?
we were back at the Burbank studio, we had a whole conversation, and you guys both. I had to scorn both of you because you were like, if you can't go in person, you shouldn't be able to see it, and we want this. And I was like, that is such a
Okay,
privilege.
You're happy with
you're
all those
missing the
receipts?
main point
Hang
of
on
what
a
our
second.
point of that was. The main point of what we were saying about that was amongst some people who don't go is a sense of entitlement that if we can't have it, they can't have it. And that's specifically what we were talking about. And it's like, when it comes to that sort of thing, if they could do it, great. But it's not a problem. Because I remember that episode very specifically.
No,
like people complaining about, it's bullshit that they get to do it. We got to be able to have it too. No, because that becomes an entitlement thing. But do I think it would be great if Disney Plus was able to do something like that and they chose to do that and it was their decision to do that? I think that's great. There's something, though, special about having events like whether it's Star Wars Celebration or D23, about being able to be there in person, being able to see it first, all that kind of stuff. Like the people who are there and in line and doing it, yes. The part that bothers me is the sense that we as fans often have, and I've been guilty of this myself, is this sense of entitlement. That if I don't get to have it, you shouldn't get to have it. And it's like, no, that's not the way fandoms should work and this stuff should work. But if Disney wanted to do that, I think it would be great.
I would look at it as you're not wrong. We did have this conversation. I remember the conversation.
We did have the conversation.
I just want to say, though, it'd be like a sporting event. Like it's still, I think it'd be cool because we've been talking about, I've been doing a panel at Comic-Con for 20 years. And people have talked about, you should live stream this panel. I don't know if it'd work as a live stream thing, but I do think it would be kind of cool because a lot of these, you get actors, you have fun times. Like the Tom Hiddleston appearance, you can watch it on Comic-Con. You can watch videos when he showed up as Loki in costume.
One of the greatest moments ever in Hall H.
Absolutely. And it was, no one knew it was going to happen. I was in that Hall H, and it was, dude, it was like a revival rock concert / whatever. It was amazing. And it would have been nice to see it beautifully shot, so when people played it back, they could have enjoyed it because it was great. And to think, yeah, it was cool to be there, but it would have been neat if it was filmed correctly.
They should have. What they should do is the way they do it at CinemaCon. Because at CinemaCon, we see everything first. 5 minutes after we see it first, though, they put it online.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We still got to see it first. We were the first ones to do it.
Totally.
We were there, blah, blah. What I think would be maybe the best idea is if, like, Disney Plus, instead of quote-unquote live streaming, maybe 20-minute offset, whatever, like it happens in Hall H and then it's streamed on thing, like something like that to work that out. I know Comic-Con was looking at doing something like that in the past. We can't go into it terribly much though, because we have like 2 minutes left and we haven't gotten even 15% through these questions. So
And I skipped somebody. Stubble McShave.
Stubble McShave.
Over under 15%, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis movie have an ad at the Super Bowl. It's 4 months out, but if they believe in it, they might go big on the marketing.
Nah, I don't see them doing it for the Elvis movie.
Although I do want to see it, Stubble.
I'm dying to see it. Tom Hanks, and yeah, I'm dying to see that movie. All right, what's next?
Cody Hunt, going to see Death on the Nile tonight. Can't wait.
I'm very excited to see it. We ran into Dennis Zen when we came out of Moonfall. Dennis Zen was coming out of the theater across the hall.
I didn't see him.
You didn't see him there?
I didn't see him there.
All right, so I ran into him coming out of the other theater of an advanced screening of Death on the Nile, and I said, "Well, I saw the wrong screening," and he liked it.
Or you saw the right one.
the right one. But I'm excited to see it myself. All right, what's next?
Justin Welsh, singing Posty, how are you? Someone says Chris looks like Allison H., Willow from Buffy. I get more of a Kate Winslet vibe.
If you want to throw personality into that as well, absolutely Willow from Buffy.
Yeah.
I totally see Willow from Buffy.
Oh man, when you
And she's
murder
a
my
redhead.
girlfriend, I get so mad. I get so mad.
Little Buffy deep cut there. All right,
Yeah.
what's next?
South Texas Shark, Aaron, Chris, Whataburger or In-N-Out?
Oh, what a burger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
What?
like you like it.
I mean, there's like not even a question.
Can I change the question for a second? Anything or In-N-Out?
Anything.
Dog shit on French toast
I will
or
say
In-N-Out?
I mean,
I
it's a
find
family
In-N-Out's
recipe,
French
so-
fries inedible.
Oh yeah, they're gross.
Oh yeah, they're terrible. They're
They're
just soggy,
awful.
soggy freaking
Their fries are real
cardboard.
bad.
You guys are, I can't believe I'm listening to this.
You know what?
we were
Because
at-
they're made out of real potatoes. I don't want potatoes when I eat French fries. I want hydrogenated oil clumped together, deep fried, rolled in sugar and salt like they do at McDonald's. That's what a French fry
All
should
right,
be.
let's keep going. What's next?
Casey Mack, A24 makes me look forward to a lot of their movies recently, and the release of the trailer to Men, which will star Jamie Buckley and directed by Alex Garland.
That is a trailer that I saw drop today. I haven't watched it
I
yet,
watched
though.
it.
That Alex Garland is directing it. What did you
I'm
think? I
a
haven't
big
seen it
Alex
yet.
Garland fan, and I'll tell you, it made me hate myself. I mean, and I don't even know what it is because I'm a man.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know what this movie's about. It's a very slight trailer. It's a woman that is like walking into a tunnel, and at the end of the tunnel, she just sees a guy at the end of the tunnel. And there's just men walking in shadows around her. I'm like, oh yes, bring it on. Because I don't even know what it's about. And there's not very much in the trailer.
I wasn't a huge fan of his last film,
Annihilation.
the one he did, Annihilation,
Yeah,
the
it
one he
was-
did with Natalie Portman. I wasn't huge on that one, but yeah. Anyway, okay. So I haven't seen it, but I'll look forward to watching that.
It's very slight.
Okay,
but-
what's next?
Andrea Valentova, hello, the John Campea crew. Big fan here. I watch every day, and I want to
thank you.
for everything you do. Have a great day, all.
Oh, thank you, Andrea. It's always nice when people want to write in just to be supportive. Thank you so much for that, Andrea. All right, what's next?
Ryan Lohner, if the sole purpose of the Vespa Gang was to set the stage for kick-ass cyborg Timothy Oliphant, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, look, if they have a kick-ass cyborg Timothy Oliphant, that's cool. But maybe you can do something good. But nothing's going to redeem the Mos Espa Vespas. That was such a mistake.
Shot in the shoulder.
He got shot in the shoulder. That is not a debilitating. I've been shot in the shoulder many times. I have recovered every time.
But Cad Bane's blaster is a very specific disintegrative blaster that I don't know. I'm just making up excuses now. All right, what's next?
Martin Pietro set an alarm at 3 a.m. to watch this finale. I was very excited, but oh my God, by the end of it, I was just so mad, and I wish I just stayed asleep.
Here's the thing. I think it ended much better than it could have, but it still didn't salvage the entire series for me. I still just wish the series had been not done. You know what I mean? It's just, and here's the really confusing part. It's the same people who made Mandalorian. It's not like they went out, got in a totally new crew, totally new directors, totally new writers, and brought them in and they kind of dropped the ball. This is the same people. And Mandalorian season 1 wasn't a fluke because then they did Mandalorian season 2, which is great. It's really difficult for me to comprehend that this was the same team. It's really hard to wrap my head around that. All right, what's next?
Sebastian Gonzalez, Boba riding Rancor was epic, but he paying damages.
Yeah, a lot of damage, but I love the moment seeing him come through on the Rancor, even though it made no sense how fast he got there. All right, what's next?
Jackmaster Norrid, Book of Boba Fett gave us some kaijus. Rancor equals King Kong.
I know there's some divisiveness on this, but I did like that King Kong homage at the end there. I did. I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, no, wasn't subtle.
It also had a
homages aren't meant to be subtle.
It also had a little bit of a Team America vibe to it. Like, we're here to save our city. Just kidding. We're going to have our city completely thrashed and trashed and everything's going to be burned down. Yay, our city's here.
All right. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We've run out of time for the cast. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let everybody here go, but I'm going to keep going to make sure we get through all your questions here, guys, because there's still a bunch of them there, and we're going to get through them. You send in a question today, we're going to get through it today. Rob, thanks for being here. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at BurnettRM. You can find me on Instagram at Robert Meyer Burnett, or find me on my own YouTube channel, the Burnett Work. And I'm sorry that I felt it was all McClunky. Do not come back at me. Don't give in to hate.
All right. And also over here, Aaron Cummings with Joey Bishop. Where can people find you guys?
You can check us out on Instagram at Aaron L. Cummings, or you can watch us in the Oscar-nominated film King Richard with myself and Tom as very small parts, or on February 27th in an episode of The Rookie.
And right beside them is Chris Carr. Chris, where can people find you?
At Actor Chris Carr on both Twitter and Instagram. EEB Studios for voiceover lessons. My own website, Chris-Carr, to work privately with me. And Rob, it's okay if you found this McClunky. It'd be really boring if we all had the same opinions.
You're right.
True.
It would.
It's very true.
And just so you guys know at home, I'm not kicking these guys out. It's just that we've kept them for as long as they've committed to be here. So it's time for us to let them go because they have other things to do. So guys, thanks a lot for being here. We'll see the rest of you guys later. For now, though, let's keep things rolling here and keep going through your questions. So they bring up my own camera here. There we go. All right. We keep rolling here with K Major, who writes, I was a bit sad when my super chat got deleted during the glitch yesterday, but it was all forgiven to have Chris shout me out at the end of the show. Yeah, again, we've been having... Stream Elements is normally very, very rock solid on this. It keeps all the super chats that get sent in organized from us. The last 48 hours or so, it's been acting a little bit wonky, and I apologize for that, guys, but thank you for being understanding. We appreciate it. Orange Hand writes, John, how would you feel if your co-hosts unionized? Fire them all.
We are unionized.
Yeah. Fire them all. You can. Yeah, Rob's... Oh, yeah. Why don't you go grab lunch, Rob? And then Rob's got to do a mailbag episode a little bit later. So, yeah, why don't you take off? I'll see you around 2. All right. Next up, we got Isaac Meckler writes, I'll be in Hawaii, that's nice, when the Batman comes out, so I'll be able to see it there. But the funny thing is, when my dad went to Hawaii in 1989, Tim Burton's Batman came out, he was 18 and I'm 19. That is a very cool coincidence that your dad saw it in Hawaii around the same age that you're going to see it in Hawaii. That is a pretty cool story, Isaac. Thanks for sharing that, man. All right, Ismail Montoya writes, the disappointment of the finale of Boba Fett only proves that 6 to 7 episode seasons are very hard to land. Finale felt rushed and soulless. Here's the funny thing. It was a combination of rushed and spending way too much time. The amount of time, I get it. We as the audience are supposed to understand that Boba Fett became very attached to the Tuskens. I get that. But if you're a half-decent storyteller, you can make us understand that in one episode. The fact that they dragged out that whole Tusken thing was very, very unnecessary. And again, you're right. I'm not a big fan of 6, 7 episode seasons. Anyway, thanks for sending that in, Ismail. KC Mack writes, wow, it was just announced by the Hollywood Reporter that Russell Crowe has joined Aaron Taylor Johnson in Sony's Kraven the Hunter. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Super stoked about that. I honestly, I don't think there's any bit of news that could have come out about Kraven the Hunter that would have made me happier. You know, Russell Crowe is my favorite actor, so I'm super excited to see him in there. All right, John Redcorn writes, so with Oscar nominations out, what can they do to bring in the casuals to watch the show? In my opinion, outside of maybe Dune, most of them haven't seen these films. True, but that's the whole thing. The point of the Oscars is not to get ratings. The point of the Oscars is to celebrate excellence in the art of filmmaking that year. I don't give two shits if a lot of people watch it. I honestly don't think that the Oscars horribly care too much about it, because if they did care about it too awful much, they would just nominate all the popular films, which then would make the Oscars meaningless. So I don't know what they need to do. I think a big key thing is about who do they get to be the host, and I still think Tom Holland is a great choice to be host this year. Whether or not they do that, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All right. Sebastian Gonzalez writes, almost cried when Grogu jumped to hug Papa Mondo. Again, Mando, the look on his face, the smile on his face was absolutely heart-melting. I love that, Sebastian. Elizabeth Gerardo writes, as a casual Star Wars fan, I got what I wanted. Baby Yoda back with his Papa Din. Grogu tapping the window to make Din go fast. Precious. Okay, that little ending was also pretty cute. I didn't know what he was trying to get Mando to do with the little knock. No, keeps knocking, no. I loved it. It was a nice little scene there. All right, Cody Hunt writes, watched Coda and Monster with Charlize Theron last night. That's won her Academy Award, as a matter of fact. Monster had been on my list for a while. What a double feature. I mean, that is a terrific, two very, very, very different movies. Very different movies. But yeah, Monster was the one, by the way, directed by Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman, and who's going to be directing the upcoming Rogue Squadron movie if they ever get that off the ground. She directed that Monster, which won Charlize Theron her Academy Award. Excellent double feature, Cody. All right, Jack Hill writes, got the Batman fan screening tickets. That's awesome. Only $15 here in Salt Lake City. Never been to an early fan screening before. What energy are y'all expecting? The energy is going to be huge. The energy is going to be absolutely huge. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be gripping. It's going to feel like a sports environment. I love these types of screenings. It's going to be great. I'm glad you only had to pay $15. I had to pay $30 for mine because of where we're seeing it. All right, next up, Brandon Blake writes, I read that the budget for the Batman was only $100 million. Warner Brothers going to make bucket loads on this movie with that budget if it's good. Listen, if they were going for gritty, as Rob would say, verisimilitude, like a grounded kind of visceral feeling movie, $100 million is plenty. If you don't have CGI characters running around and giant alien spaceships coming out of the sky, $100 million is enough. It's great. And I think they're going to kill it, Brandon. All right. Medicated Movie Reviews writes, have you guys seen Ash versus the Evil Dead? The show, I never did watch it. Here's the funny thing. We had the cast. We had Ash and the rest of his cast. We had them all come into my studio when I was still back at AMC, and I had never watched the show. Even though we had them in to talk about the show and everything, I had never seen it myself. It's one of the most well-made and ridiculous shows I've ever seen. Highly recommend it. Listen, Medicaid, you're not alone. I've heard a lot of people say it's really, really good, and at some point I do have to get myself around to watching it. All right, next up, Sully writes, why is it when we talk about box office, we only mention weekend box office? I'm just curious why we don't talk about what a movie made during the weekdays. Well, it's mostly because movies open on the weekend, right? Movies open on the weekend. And so that's why most of our conversations about the opening box office is always the opening weekend box office. Now, we do talk about weekdays in the fact that we talk about in total, right? So we'll say, hey, Murder on the Orient Express pulled in $19 million this weekend to bring it to a grand total of $69 million. He said $69 million, right? Well, then that implies what it made during the week. The thing is, weekdays are much, much smaller compared to the weekends. So we talk about the weekends and we talk about in total, which includes and kind of implies what it made during the week. But the weekends are always the much bigger numbers. All right, next up, Harv's K writes, character grade for Book of Boba Fett, Boba C, Fennec B-, Mod Gang D, Mod Girl gets C-, Black Chrysanthemum B-, Mando B, Luke B, Cad Bane B+, Grogu A+, strange show, very strange show. Again, I thought it ended for how good or bad the show was, I thought the ending episode, the finale, was fairly strong. But you heard about all the complaints I had about it. I mean, they did so many stupid things. This could have been a great show. With even the basic ideas they had about that. Look, you start with the basic premise of what this show is. Boba Fett returns to Tatooine, determined to change his own fate. He wants to now be boss. He's confronted with several obstacles, including an outside syndicate and the existing crime families there. He crosses paths with the Mandalorian again, and the things that they join forces with a few other things to face down the villains at the end. That's a good starting premise for what this show could have been. It just needed to be executed better, Harv's, like probably a lot better. And I'm glad you're pointing out the character work because it needed much, much better character work. All right, Chris Stovall writes, 1 and 2. What's up, John and movie crew? On Monday, I confronted my supervisor about harassing young girls at my job. Yesterday, I was terminated. Tough time. Immediately go to the HR department of whatever that company is. If you got, now, look, Chris, I don't know you. For all I know, no, they actually they fired you because you were also stealing money out of the register. I don't know. But if it's just that black and white, you contact HR, you contact your local news, you contact whatever. You cannot, there are laws in place to protect workers from having retribution brought against them for bringing up stuff like that. There are laws in place. You can sue them if it's that simple. So I would look into that. Dan's Productions right. I did not like that finale at all. Listen, I think there were a bunch of people who did, and I think there were a bunch of people that didn't, Dan. So you're not alone, dude. Even I, who thought it was one of the stronger episodes, I had tons of problems with it. Zaid Habjoka writes, what's happened to the new studio hunting? Still hunting. Just in the beginning stages. Listen, to rent a studio space is a huge financial commitment. And I'm not going to rush that. You know, we don't have an absolute need to move into one. We would like to move into one. It would give us an opportunity to do some things, but we're going to take our time. And we could move into a new studio in 3 months. It may take a year or two, but we're still looking. All right. Elizabeth Gerardo writes, Aaron, did the butterflies, Aaron who's not here right now, just missed her, did the butterflies from Peacemaker make you squirm? For me, they did, and it was awful. You know what? She didn't mention it at all. Because when something pops up, like with a spider, she'll go, why didn't you warn me? Right? And she didn't mention it at all. So I'm going to guess she probably just looked at them as butterflies and probably not spiders. I'm guessing. But next time I talk to her, I'll ask her specifically. But again, normally when there's a spider freak out, she will bring up to me and ask why on earth I didn't warn her about that first. All right. Great question, Elizabeth. Brandon Blake writes, enjoyed the finale of Boba Fett, but it's crazy how I already have like nostalgia for that Mando theme when it kicked in at the end. It's so good. Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like, remember, what was it at the end of episode 4? When at the end of the episode, they just gave the hints of the Mandalorian music. And so we all knew Mandalorian was coming in episode 5. But then hearing it play again as he's driving away from the planet or flying away from the planet, that music is so good. That's so good. And as soon as they hits, you get an emotional response. Totally with you on that, Brandon. All right, Mike Joyce writes, random thought. Are you going to restart the Best Movie, Worst Movie podcast? I liked it. Yes, but we are not going to do it without Cody Miller. We're just not going to do it without Cody Miller. And so we took a big, long break, and then he was in Olympics preparation, and then the Olympics came and went, and then we got really busy, and then him and his wonderful wife, Allie, just had another baby. Like, they just had their second kid, like, last week. And so we are kind of waiting until we can do it the right time, but we are just simply not going to do it without Cody. If that means we got to wait another year, we're going to wait another year. If it means we only have to wait a few more months, we're going to wait a few more months. But we're going to wait to do it so we can make sure we can do it with him. Thanks for asking about it, though, man. All right, Condiment King writes, keep Robert Rodriguez away from Star Wars. Yeah, I'm kind of getting that feeling myself too, Condiment King. I really am. All right, Spencer Nielsen writes, hold on a second. Okay, Spencer Nielsen writes, I had the pleasure of watching Seven Samurai for the first time last weekend. Nice. And it's always special when a classic film is as good as its reputation. At 3.5 hours, somehow it has no fat. Seven Samurai. I mean, you talk to any cinephile, it's in every cinephile's repertoire. When you watch it, it's like The Godfather. Because I always mention this about The Godfather. When you guys watch Godfather for the first time, the reaction I always see out of people is that, man, I didn't realize how many other movies were influenced by Godfather until you watch The Godfather, right? When you watch The Godfather for the first time, it's like, oh, it's like the gates of heaven open up and you realize you start to see visions of all these other movies you've seen that were obviously clearly influenced by The Godfather. Seven Samurai has that same kind of effect. And it's not just like the Magnificent Seven or the obvious ones. When you watch Seven Samurai, you realize how many movies in Hollywood history have been influenced by that film. So I'm glad you had a chance to watch that one, Spencer. All right, next up. Bobby Jackson writes, John, you said Grogu would be a child still at 75, but Yoda said he's been training Jedi for 800 years, making him 100 years when he started. Do you think 25 more years on top of 75 years would make Grogu more mature? You're trying to put specifics to general statements. I've been training Jedi for 800 years. That could be 875, could be 832. Like, I don't think he was being specific. I think he was giving a general statement. I've been training Jedi for 800 years. It doesn't mean he's specifically, I mean, it might, but it doesn't necessarily specifically mean he's been training Jedi for 800 years. Specifically to the day, today's the anniversary, my 800th anniversary. So it really could mean a lot of other different things. So who knows? Who knows, Bobby? I don't know. But listen, right now, if he's 50 and he's still at the cooing stage, then he is many years away from being conversational. Like, we might hear his first word, right? We might hear his first word of Mando, or we might hear his first word of hungry or whatever. But if he at 50 is still just cooing, then we are many years away from him having conversational English, right? Like many years away. So what the specifics are, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All right. Marley Marr writes, I hate to say that Robert Rodriguez are my least favorite episodes. Yeah, mine too. Boba deserves better than this show gave him. I agree. At the end of the day, I just kind of wish they didn't make this show. There was cool stuff in it, but I think if anything, it just kind of got in the way of the Star Wars story they're telling. Through the first couple of seasons of Mandalorian and moving forward, I feel like this was an unnecessary pit stop that didn't add anything to it. So I kind of wish they didn't make it. All right. Michael Brandy writes, I saw Nightmare Alley. It was definitely not the best picture. It was filmed in my hometown of Buffalo, though. Go Bills. Also got my Batman March 1st tickets. That's awesome. Listen, I really like Nightmare Alley. I really did. And I get it that a lot of people feel that it is a best picture contender. A lot of my friends think it absolutely. I got some friends who heard me say that I wouldn't have nominated for best picture. They thought I was crazy because they thought it was really that good. Myself, I thought it's quite good. I wouldn't have nominated for best picture myself, but I have no problems that it got a nomination. No problems at all, because I know a lot of people who think it was that good, so I'm good with it. All right. Chris Stovall, 2 of 2. I can't remember what part 1 was, but listening to you guys has really been getting me through it. Oh, I remember. This is about the employment situation. Much love to you all. Also, I know everyone wanted a solo cameo. I'm waiting on Jar Jar. I don't know that I wanted a solo cameo. And I didn't think they would do it, but I thought it was a possibility. I thought, they could be leading up to that. I mean, they did get Harrison Ford to come back for The Rise of Skywalker when he said he'd never do one again. So I thought it was a possibility, but I really didn't think he would. And I'm not sure that I wanted it either. It could have been fun, though, depending on how they would decide to do it. All right. Next up, Helena Paxau writes, hey guys, I'm loving Peacemaker so far, but I have a thing with parasites, kind of like Aaron's spider thing. And last episode actually gave me a nightmare. You know what? I don't have her. You can't hear her because the mics aren't on. But Aaron just walked back into the room. Oh, here she comes. She's coming over here. Somebody wrote in and asked me, you and Tom have been watching Peacemaker, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We're watching it at midnight tonight.
Somebody wrote in and asked, did the butterflies give you spider reaction, or did you just see them as butterflies?
I just saw them as butterflies.
I thought so, because what I told him, I said, when Erin has a spider moment, she will tell me, why didn't you warn me about that? And I said, she didn't say anything, so I think it's probably...
The things in Boba Fett that crawled out I always have to count
the
legs,
droids?
but like it's the way that they go.
Oh, the ant ones.
Well, the ant ones, the worker ants, yes,
Right.
but even the ones in this last episode,
The destroyer droids, yeah.
destroyers with the little, yeah.
So you count the legs?
I count the legs.
As long as there's not 8, you're good.
As long as it's not 8, yeah.
I love that.
6 legs, that's an ant. 4 legs, that's a cat.
That's awesome. Okay, 4 legs is a cat. All right, next up.
Robin, Chris, and I are going to lunch.
Oh, have fun, you guys. Where are you going?
Well, I'm not gonna announce.
Oh, don't announce it. Text me. Text me where you guys are going. All right. Next up, Ray Aura sends in a super chat. What does Ray Aura do alone in your living room? He's on super chat or he's in the live chat talking to you guys on there. Matt writes, "Hey John, was watching old clips of AMC Movie Talk yesterday. Dennis, Greg Alba, and Scott Mance on more as guests. Well, the problem is that now that we have moved back to being in person and in studio, it's difficult. So I don't know when we're going to have a chance to have Greg. Greg's great to have Greg or Dennis or Scott on again. I'm not really sure because we don't bring in guests remotely anymore. I mean, maybe for a quick 5-minute thing, but to actually be a guest on the full episode, I don't know how we'd be able to do that to me. Hold on a second. What's going on here? Let me try to fix this. I'm having a problem. Again, Stream Elements has been acting really weird, guys. I apologize about that. Let me see if I can get this fixed up here. Okay, where did we leave off? We left off at Keep Robert Rodriguez Away from Star Wars, Seven Samurai, Robert Rodriguez, Sun Nightmare Alley, listening to you guys, take us Peacemaker, but okay, Ray, old clips. Okay, we're up to Calvin Severo Pano, who writes, John, with all that happened around Mando in the book of Boba Fett, I'm kind of afraid about who just watched The Mandalorian. Won't they be confused? A lot happened in other show. The kid is back with him out of nowhere. New ship, outcasted by armor. I get it. There are people who have written in to say that I've read online talking amongst yourselves, feeling like that episode, like as great as it was seeing Baby Yoda show back up and the big smile and the way he puts the Rancor to sleep, that's all cool. But a lot of people felt like it completely undermined and undid that great ending of Mandalorian season 2. It's like, wait, what the heck's going on here? I didn't personally feel that way watching it, but I can understand why people would. And it's going to be a problem for some people, I think, moving forward, man. I think it's going to be a problem for people moving forward. Okay. Let's see here. Next up, B. Gill Studios writes, I would love to see Zac Efron with the fire powers instead, but also in the MCU, as you guessed it, Human Torch. Just my opinion. Love you guys. Bring on the filthy. Listen, I don't care about X actor and X role. I just want good actors in roles. That's all I want. I think Zac Efron is a terribly underrated actor. Maybe he hasn't always chosen the best projects to be in, but he's a really good thespian. He's a really good performer. And I would love to see him in something like that. I really would be, Gil. All right, Casey Mack writes, I got to say the Spider Universe knows how to get some big actors in their movies. Michael Keaton, Jake Gyllenhaal, Jared Leto, and now Russell Crowe. So excited. I know I already said it before, but I am actually beside myself with excitement with Russell Crowe coming in to be in Kraven the Hunter. It just put that movie way to the top of my list. I cannot wait. All right. Christoval 2.5 writes, waiting on Jar Jar Soap in a Star Wars show. Yeah, no, that's the day I don't care if it's Mandalorian season 3. If I'm watching Mandalorian season 3 and we're like 3 episodes in and the episodes are awesome so far, the moment Jar Jar Binks shows up, I'm like, click. Well, I'm done. That's it. I'm done. I spelled something. Sorry. That's it. I'm completely done. Won't be going back to it. Won't be revisiting it. It'll be finished for me. All right. Next up, Marie Seafring writes, episode 7 was directed by Robert Rodriguez. Yep, as well. It was an improvement on the other 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett that he directed. Thanks. I agree. I actually agree. I think out of the 3 episodes he directed, which by the way, you have Bryce Dallas Howard there. Why don't you give her 3 episodes to direct? At any rate, I agree. Out of the 3 that Robert Rodriguez directed, I think this was the best of the 3 that he did. It wasn't great, but I think it was the least bad I thought it was the strongest of the 3 episodes that he'd done. I think most people will agree on that at least. But I'm going to agree with you on that. Okay, next up. Josie Reviews writes, if someone's going to DJ my wedding, I want it to be Efron. Come on, where are your friends too? God, that movie where he's the DJ, so ridiculous. That is such a ridiculous movie. But yeah, if anybody's good, hey, I would have Zac Efron DJ my wedding as well. All right, Lord Vanderkill just sends in a $20 super chat to be supportive. Thank you, Lord Vanderkill. Appreciate that, man, very much. That's awesome of you, dude. Thank you. Spencer Nielsen writes, Rob, who is not here right now. I had never seen a Star Trek movie before until last Wednesday when I was invited to see Wrath of Khan on the big screen at the Hollywood Theater in Portland or Portland, Oregon. Simply wow. Now, me personally, my favorite Star Trek movie is Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. But an argument can definitely be made for Wrath of Khan. Actually, I think if you talk to most people, Wrath of Khan is probably the definitive best Star Trek movie. Again, for me, I kind of prefer Voyage Home because I really love Voyage Home. But Wrath of Khan is an iconic sci-fi film. Not just an iconic Star Trek film. It's an iconic sci-fi film. And I love that you got to see it for the first time, man. That's great. All right. And then finally, Casey Mack, Bartleby, Scrivener, all send in super chats. Thank you so much. And Bartleby send in a bunch of them. Thank you so much, guys, for sending that in just to be supportive. And guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big thanks to Rob, Chris, and Aaron for being a part of the show. Thanks to Ray for being out there, joining you guys in the live chat for all that. And a big special thank you to all you guys who were here and sent in these live comments and questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. Number 2, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. All right, guys, a little bit later. We were meant to have it up yesterday, but we had a bunch of things come up yesterday, including Movie Club, so we didn't have our newest installment of Mailbag go up, but Mailbag is going up this afternoon, so keep your guys' eyes open for that. And don't forget to join us again for the next installment of the John Campea Show. Tomorrow, we hope to see you there. So until next time, guys, my name's John Campea, and until then, McClunky.